As a disembodied soul, Gruhon realized he isekai'd into, wait for it, a literal sword. After wandering for centuries, I've served enough masters to make them all S-tier legends in the history books. Then I met the real Geo8, a kid from a no-name village named Leon Beck. We clapped cheeks across the entire continent, pulling off feats that absolutely no one could replicate. Then came a freezing day where the lightning just wouldn't stop nuking the map. The impact was shaking the earth like a massive server lag. My boy Leon was struggling hard, gripping me with everything he had. He was down on one knee, basically tanking the entire boss fight, while staring down a literal nightmare of a dragon. The boss didn't even let him breathe, just started screaming like a tilted NPC. But the homie refused to stay down, rising up for one last dance. The dragon unleashed a massive beam of mana, pure get-cooked energy. Leon didn't even flinch, unleashing his own aura to negate that mid-tier magic. He hit me with that signature grin. Let's roll, old friend. He didn't hesitate, charging straight toward the target like an absolute Chad. The dragon barely had time to process the sheer aura radiating off him. In a blink, my man launched himself into the stratosphere. One clean swing aimed right at the dragon's skull, a frame-perfect execution. After we finished speed-running the Frost Mountain Dragon, my partner went on to become the king of the entire realm, and I became a living legend, the literal Dragon Slayer sword. Before he kicked the bucket, he whispered, "Gruhon, please look after my descendants. A canon event I swore to honor for the rest of eternity." I finally wake up to some annoying vibrations, and honestly, my mood is already trash. Who's making all this noise, you NPCs? A second later, I'm tilted absolute mid-energy. What kind of fraud is out here shaking my body? Meanwhile, this dude Andreon is screaming, "From now on, I'm the master of this sword," while the guards are sweating buckets. The soldiers are basically begging, "Your Highness, no, only the king can touch that. Put it back." I'm literally bewildered. Wait, this loser is a prince? I scan the guy. This little pig? Seriously? He's still throwing a tantrum. Shut up, there's nothing in this kingdom I can't touch. I'm having a hard time believing this garbage. Ain't no way. I immediately trigger system check, time to see if this kid actually has any stats. The UI pops up and I'm straight up speechless. This Leon B descendant is definitely related to my old partner, but I'm questioning my sanity. The Sword Saint's descendant has this trash tier potential? Andreon is busy monologuing. Once I get this power, the king and those nobles, his voice dripped with pure salt, won't be able to ignore me anymore. He just rolled his eyes, thinking, this absolute clown is actually yapping about legendary power? But the idiot didn't know when to quit, screaming, "Great Dragon Slayer, lend me your power." Gruhon didn't even blink. Are you cooked in the head? Why would I ever buff a loser like you? Even with that L, Andreon just kept acting like the main character. Gruhon, he started swinging his sword like a toddler with a stick, terrifying the guards who begged, "Your Highness, please, no unsheathed steel in the palace," but he just shut them down with pure toxicity. "How dare you give me orders? Do you want to be sent to the lobby right now?" He was sprinting around, still coping. Once I channel the power of Gruhon, you NTPCs are all finished. Then in the most skill issue moment ever, he tripped over his own feet. His sword turned toward his own chest, and in a blink, the tip was closing the gap. The guards' faces went pale. This was a certified oh no moment. Adelia slammed a hand over her mouth to stop herself from screaming. A frantic shout echoed through the hall. "Your Highness!" Even Gruhon was panicking, shouting for the royal physicians to get there ASAP. Looking back, he realized the guy who just got skewered by his own blade was this absolute fraud. Gruhon felt his consciousness fading, his vision getting that low battery blur. He was mauling, thinking, "Are you kidding me? I'm really gonna pass out? This is so embarrassing for a legendary sword." If Prince Andreon actually inherits the throne, this kingdom is officially speedrunning its own downfall. He's got zero royal talent, but maxed out his arrogance stat. This guy is the final boss of mid. Just a lazy, vicious pig in a human suit. Andreon Leon Beck is basically a massive red flag hovering over the entire kingdom. After the prince had his near-death experience and finally woke up, some weird rumors started circulating. The servants were gossiping like crazy. Is it just me, or did he change? He's not flipping the table at dinner anymore, and he's ditched his trashy posse. Others just threw shade. Don't be fooled, he's just acting shy because he got checked. Give it a week, he'll be back to his cringe self. Back in his room, the main character, the man now wearing Andreon's skin, couldn't care less about the tea they were spilling. No way, is this actually happening to me? He was spiraling, realizing he'd basically taken over the body of his comrade's pathetic descendant. Suddenly, a notification popped up from outside. "Your Highness, the king is here. Please fix your appearance before he enters." He frowned, thinking, bruh, the old man didn't even visit when I was dying. Why show up now? The maid panicked, whispering, "Your Highness, the royal guards have ears everywhere. Please watch your tongue." She looked terrified, begging him to keep his cool. Then his teacher waltzed in looking annoyed. "I heard you came back from the dead, but I see your trashy attitude is still fully leveled up." He told the guards to scram, adding that the king wouldn't expect anything from him anyway. But Andreon was just staring like, who is this NPC? Then the teacher started gatekeeping. "We have years of history as master and apprentice. Are you seriously acting like you don't know me?" Andreon did the math. "Wait, this guy was the teacher to this pig?" While the man kept barking, "Your Highness." Andreon fumbled. "My memory is absolute trash. I think I know you, but maybe I don't." And the guy looked like he was about to disconnect from reality. "Huh, don't tell me." But a voice cut them off. "His Majesty has arrived." Andreon couldn't be bothered. "A king, huh?" He sighed, feeling zero hype. So that's the father of this bottom-tier loser. But his eyes went wide. The man actually had some serious aura. The Emperor stared him down with ice-cold eyes. I thought the lion's bloodline had been diluted into a total mongrel by now. He's coping, but looking at the king, he's definitely not buying it. The Emperor suddenly speaks up, eyeing how his own son doesn't even bother to offer a greeting. Apparently, surviving a brush with the Reaper didn't fix his trash attitude. His tutor frantically tries to do damage control. Your Majesty, I heard the prince's memory isn't exactly intact, causing a soldier to panic. God, what a disaster! Why didn't the royal doctors report this sooner? So they drag the medics in for another checkup. The royal physician is sweating buckets but insists. Your Majesty, I cannot find a single thing wrong with the prince's constitution. Then he drops the pro-diagnosis. However, it's possible this is a temporary state caused by severe mental shock. The Emperor mutters memory loss, while our MC is low-key sweating thinking, oh god, did he clock me? But the Emperor just hits him with the ultimate snark. How convenient, right? If you claim you don't remember anything now, the Emperor goes full savage. Does that mean everything you've done up until this point just magically never happened? Before he can even process the shade, the king doubles down. Sometimes people make mistakes or commit acts the whole world condemns. If you realize it and never repeat it, that's called growth. With pure disappointment dripping from his voice, the Emperor growls. But you've forgotten all of it. It doesn't stop there, he keeps roasting him. Since it's all erased, you haven't taken a single step forward from your past failures. Finally, the Emperor delivers the death blow, and in the future, you won't progress either. The tutor begs for mercy, but Andreon is just stunned. Man is out here getting absolutely cooked by his own father. As the Emperor turns his back, Andreon internally screams, damn it, I really stepped on a landmine. Forget being treated like a prince, it feels like they don't even see me as human. Andreon looks down at his own body, wondering, what kind of life was this kid even living? Right on cue, he gets yanked away. Yan, the queen pulls him into a hug, whispering, I heard everything, you must be so confused. Your memory will return soon, and she just keeps squeezing him tighter. Nah, that trashy past, honestly, if I don't remember it, who cares? The queen looks down, devastated. I can't believe your beautiful face looks so haggard, my poor son. Andreon shudders, thinking, where exactly is the haggard part, lady? She forces a shaky smile. Regardless, I'm just so happy you opened your eyes. Then she hits him with the classic motherly guilt trip. You are never ever touching dangerous objects again. What if something happened and you didn't wake up? She bites her lip, looking like she's about to break down. She sighs, I can't even imagine a world without you. Andreon feels a massive wave of imposter syndrome. Sorry, lady, but your real son is already long gone. The awkwardness lasts well into the night. Honestly, this gig is a massive headache. Finally, the queen lets go. I'll visit again soon. Get some rest, honey. Andreon finally lets out a sigh of relief. He uses the quiet to reflect. My comrade begged me to take care of his descendant, and instead, I ended up killing the kid. Even if it wasn't intentional, I'm the one who finished him off. The more he thinks, the more he feels the weight of it. Whatever, I'll just have to live a damn good life for the both of us. Andreon locks in with that transmigrated as a sword grind set. I've spent my whole life cleaning up everyone else's mess. This body might be a fatty with zero talent, but who cares? With that thought, he clenches his fist. I just need to rebuild my power from scratch. He smirks with absolute main character energy. Do you have any idea how many monsters I've trained in my time? No more hesitation, Andreon hops out of bed. First things first, I need to forge a mana heart. He takes a deep breath, pulling in the ambient mana, refining it into a concentrated, high-tier energy core. Mana flares up, burning bright like a raging inferno. But the next second, poof, gone, and Andreon is straight up shook, staring at his hands like a total NPC. Cold sweat starts pouring because the mana just scattered. His body is literally rejecting it like a corrupted save file. Andreon scrambles to force that mana back together again. He grits his teeth, determined to hold on to that energy this time. Let's go, he forces his entire body to surge with the flow of magic once more. But the final result? A massive L that leaves him completely defeated. Panting for air, Andreon curses under his breath. What kind of absolute trash tier body is this? He screams in pure, unfiltered despair. If I had my original vessel, I'd force this mana into submission without breaking a sweat. Suddenly, a knock at the door. Your Highness, apologies for the intrusion. The servant enters with a steaming bowl of medicine. This is a tonic from the Queen. It's bitter, but it's top tier for your recovery. She keeps her composure, adding, please, do it for the Queen's sake. As she speaks, her face betrays pure terror. She's having flashbacks to when he threw the last bowl and screamed, I told you I'm not drinking this garbage. But Andreon, he's actually looking at her with genuine shock. Because he just clocked it, he can literally see the mana surging inside that bowl. Without missing a beat, he grabs the medicine and chugs the whole thing like a Chad. The servant is stunned, and he just slams the empty bowl back at her. Happy now? Now get lost. She scrambles to reply, yes, Your Highness, leaving Andreon to lock back into his grind. Good, let's go again. He squeezes his eyes shut, channeling every drop of mana into his palms. He lets out a sigh of relief, thank the gods, it actually works. Still, he's worried. The mana density is mid at best, and it's going to dissipate in like 24 hours. He calls the servant back, and she's already at the door like a loyal speedrunner. Yes? He skips the pleasantries. You got more of that stuff? A few days pass, and Andreon's mana reserves are finally looking stacked. A satisfied smirk crosses his face. Finally, I can forge a mana heart. The energy surges toward his heart. I've done this 1,000 times for me. Forging a mana heart is just muscle memory. Suddenly, his expression darkens as the reality of the situation hits him. Wait, this hurts. He starts remembering the previous descendants who failed this. It's pure agony, like his organs are being deep-fried and his chest is about to pull a C4 explosion stunt. Andreon realizes the truth as he struggles for air. Right, forging a mana heart, it was always this painful, wasn't it? But he refuses to back down, biting his tongue until he bleeds. I am not blacking out here. Thinking the worst-case scenario, he told himself, if I pass out now, my mana is going to backflow and I'm straight up cooked. He squeezed his eyes shut, trying to keep his composure from hitting the floor. With both hands pressed against his heart, he kept chanting the mantra, "Focus, you absolute fraud, don't mess this up." When the timing was perfect, Andreon clenched his fist, grabbing that rampaging mana core. No rush, just pure control, and harmonized the flow. Guided by his heartbeat, the mana surged toward his right side, and suddenly, everything went quiet as a mirror. He let the new heart slowly absorb the essence, steady and calculated. Andreon soaked it all in, took a breath, and slowly cracked his eyes open to check the stats. Once he realized he didn't explode, he let out a hype-filled, "Let's go!" Andreon was buzzing. This wasn't just some mana heart made for a master, this was his own, custom-built for him alone. Flexing his own greatness, he shouted, "Mission accomplished, baby!" He was still gloating when the system notification popped up. Mana heart creation complete. He stood there for a solid minute, face planted in pure confusion like an NPC. Then Adian blinked. Wait, is this a status window? He reached out to touch it, testing if he was glitching. It's the exact same UI he used to spam his masters with back when he was just a sword. Why is it syncing with him now? Suddenly, the system went nuclear. Wait, hold up. The next second, he's getting spammed by 100 notifications. What kind of bug is this? Finally, the system hit him with clairvoyance and clairaudience. Andreon was skeptical until his vision zoomed in like a high-res camera. Andreon could see the veins on a single leaf. Okay, talk about an A-tier sensory upgrade. But wait, he started catching random snippets of convo. Was he just eavesdropping on the world? Everything outside was leaking into his ears. You don't know his personality? He probably caused a huge scene. Andreon was shook. He could literally hear the tea being spilled outside his door. But then a massive migraine cut the vibe short. System, mana reserves critical. Andreon sighed. So that's what extremely limited means. My reserves are basically bottom tier. He felt a bit salty, losing that 360-degree sensory awareness he had back in his sword days. The absolute sensory mastery I had as a weapon is gone, just like that. Standing in the room, he thought, using this tiny rat tail amount of mana just to eavesdrop or zoom in, total L. Andreon braced himself. Whatever, I'll just have to level up my mana pool and manifest that main character energy later. Right on cue, his stomach let out a pathetic growl that echoed through the room. Mood tanked instantly. The servant immediately scrambled. Food is on the way. My lord? Andreon refocused. Priorities. First, I need to get used to this human meat suit before I start mogging everyone. Shortly after the meal, the queen glided in, looking like an absolute S-tier waifu. She was beaming, praising him for chugging down that medicine she sent like a good boy. Finally, you've learned to value your own body, she cooed. Just then, someone else walked in and the queen went, oh, right. She asked him, do you recognize this person? Andreon deadpanned, nah, no clue. Hearing that, she looked worried and whispered to the guy, it seems he's really got amnesia. Please, you have to look after this kid. Andreon's uncle pieces it together. Oh, so he's the Empress's brother, and she's already busy begging for mercy. Talk about a total NPC moment for a royal. Bo just smirks like she's crying over spilled milk, but let's be real, that past was absolute trash anyway. Andreon senses the immediate hate, and honestly, the man's aura is basically shouting, I'm about to humble you. Then Bo drops the bass, his voice turning ice cold. Let me make one thing crystal clear. Bo keeps it 100. The only thing I'm doing for you is burning off that pathetic excess fat. He doubles down. Don't expect anything else, so stop with the useless delusions, while the Empress nods like a terrified lackey. But Bo hits Andreon with a, don't you dare forget this feeling. The tension is thick enough to cut with a blade, and poor Andreon is just standing there while Bo stares him down like he's a piece of raw meat. They hit the training grounds, and Bo doesn't even hesitate. He puts the kid on the floor with zero effort. Bo goes full drill sergeant. From now on, eating, breathing, sleeping. You need my permission for everything. If you're waiting for a royal treatment, keep dreaming, princess. He drops a cheeky smirk. Give it your all, kid. Maybe if you impress me, I'll teach you some of our family's top-tier secret sword arts. Andreon is losing his mind like, this guy? The legendary coach who trained the undefeated knights and the founding king himself? Is he actually going to train me? Bo stays roasting him. Look at that flab jiggling. You look absolutely tilted right now. Andreon checks his ego and claps back. Uncle, let's make a bet. He stares Bo dead in the eyes. I'm gonna shatter that arrogant I'm better than you gaze in 6 months flat. The condition, if I fail, I'm your personal slave for whatever you want. But if I win, uncle, you owe me one wish, and Bo's eyes light up like he's finally found something worth his time. He accepts the terms. Fine, let's do it. I could use some entertainment around here anyway. Reality hits Andreon instantly. He screams internally as he realizes he's trapped in this absolute fraud of a body, regretting his big mouth already. But he's not backing down. He forces his mana into his legs, zero hesitation. While sprinting, he's calculating, I gotta burn this fat using mana. No pain, no gain. Let's get shredded. Bo senses the shift and goes full Nani, this brat, don't tell me, and he lunges to stop him. He intentionally slows down just to track the mana flow swirling around Andreon. Bo looks shook, stuttering, you actually forged a mana heart? Andreon just gives a Chad smirk. I just did it. Yeah, I just finished it. Why? Regretting the bet already. But instead of praise, Bo goes full toxic mode. What kind of brain dead move is that? Creating a mana heart? Bo is losing it. Forget that. Where did you even learn such a trash technique? You look so clueless. You don't even know why you just cooked yourself. Andrian is standing there like, wait, what's wrong with a mana heart? Then comes the gut punch. That's a low-tier technique for bottom-feeding mercenaries, and Andrian's jaw literally hits the floor. Andrian screams, his face pale as a ghost. Wait, what did you just say? It's officially the end of an era for his ego. Those words are looping in his brain on repeat. A low-tier technique for bottom-feeding mercenaries. Andrian is straight up paralyzed, his expression a perfect mix of pure shock, and I just screwed up big time. Snapping back to reality, he rushed to ask, what on earth are you getting at, old man? Bell hit back instantly, I'll just show you, it's way faster than explaining. Without a second thought, he manifested a mana loop. Watch closely, kid. Andrian stood there, eyes wide as saucers. A ring of mana, is that even a thing? Then the old man tossed the ring at him. It didn't just touch his mana, it absolutely shattered his internal energy like cheap glass. Bell explained the flex. This is circle mana. It's superior to a mana heart in every way. More stable, more efficient, just built different. He didn't stop there, dropping the lore bomb. Even the Lee family, those stubborn fossils stuck on the old mana heart way, got wiped out 100 years ago. Nobody uses that primitive junk anymore. Andrian was glued to the book now. Times have really changed, and he's realizing he's basically an isekai caveman. He skimmed the data. Mages use circles, while knights weave mana chains to sync their power. Knight tiers are ranked by how many chains they've forged. First, second, third, fourth, all the way to fifth chain. After reading, Andrian smirked. Okay, maybe it's not completely bottom-tier trash after all. Suddenly, a name caught his eye. Sanchingen? Why does that name ring a bell in my brain? Memory lane hit him hard, and he started zoning out into the archives of his past life. In the flashback, Ernest had stepped up. So you're the legendary Sword Saint everyone's simping over? The guy grabbed him and flexed. I'm Sanchingen, and I'm here to see if you're actually worthy of that title. Andrian remembered the encounter clearly. A fraud using weird dark arts, not real swordplay or magic. A devilish smile crept onto his face. No wonder the name sounded familiar. He was actually starting to get curious. I wonder what happened to that pathetic loser anyway. The next morning hit, and like an absolute Chad, Andrian was already out on the grounds warming up. Bell rolled up, asking, so you actually read that book last night? He walked closer, adding, hopefully you finally realized how dog water your decisions have been. Andrian just gave him the classic don't care shrug. Not even a little bit, old man. I'm chilling, he replied effortlessly. Bell sighed, clearly annoyed. Are you just in denial, or is your IQ really that low? Andrian didn't blink, doubling down on his mana heart. You realize not all cores are created equal, right? He looked him dead in the eye. Ever heard of a little thing called a skill gap? Because you're looking at it. Bell laughed, looking like he'd heard the funniest joke of the century. What is this delusional NPC even yapping about? He started schooling him. I've seen plenty of mercenaries like you thinking they're the main character reincarnated from some ancient era. You know how they end up? Bell slammed the point home. They all end up in the dirt. Couldn't even manifest 2 circles if their lives depended on it. He leaned in to provoke him. If you're so special, how about you try beating a second chain knight, kid? Bell smirked, thinking he had him cornered. When you lose, I'm taking over as your guardian, just like your mother wanted. Andrian met his gaze with zero fear. Having you as a guardian? Not sure if that's a blessing or a cursed timeline, honestly. The temperature in the room dropped to sub-zero, the tension thick enough to cut with a blade. Silence hung in the air until Bell growled, are you questioning my authority to oversee you? He unleashed his aura, pure, suffocating pressure. I am a count of this kingdom and the supreme commander of the Northern Army. Then he stomped the ground, the earth cracking beneath his boots. I am the master of the Black Spear Cavalry and one of the 5 silver lions serving the crown. The old man's aura exploded, 4 circles manifesting in the air, and even Bu's eyes lit up with hype. Then, a trash-tier knight from the Crimson Order tried to flex on V with some low-rent threats, basically implying he's the big bad waiting in the shadows. Andrian stepped up, pushed them back like, is this weak-ass display supposed to intimidate me? Right on cue, the Royal Knights went full aggro. They unsheathed their blades with such crisp main character energy, instantly surrounding Bu. The Count told them to stand down, but honestly, the old man just smirked like he was the only one in the room with W-tier status. Meanwhile, Andrian grinned, don't go back on your word, old man. A while later, our boy was dead tired, hitting the floor. That's a wrap for today. Training over, Andrian finally got a second to breathe. Still, his body was shaking. Absolute bro almost met the Reaper energy. He started thinking about Bu. You challenged me, thinking you'd get my approval with that pathetic guts? A rank 2? Man, you're lucky you can even handle a rank 1. He cursed under his breath, that devilish bastard is literally the worst. But as soon as he hit his room, someone was waiting. Your Highness, I've been waiting for you. Andrian realized it was the royal physician, who bowed with that fake humble servant vibe. Andrian was confused. Why is the doctor here? The physician explained. The Empress ordered me to use healing magic on you. He tried to lure Andrian away with that sus, gentle energy, but Andrian shut him down faster than a failing server. I don't need it. Get lost. Andrian muttered to himself, you trying to undo all the hell I went through today? Keep that trash away from me. C stood nearby, looking at him like he'd finally lost his mind. Fast forward a few days, it's just another NPC weather day, then Jillian decides to crash the party. Oh brother, you're here too? The moment he walked in, his arrogance was radiating major I need a face-slapping energy. Andrian mid-meal stopped chewing and just stared him down. Who the hell is this NPC again? C whispered that it was the third prince. Andrian was shocked. Wait, that loser is the third prince? Julian didn't care, just kept yapping. Heard you had an accident, but you look way less cooked than I thought. Andrian didn't even blink. You got a point, or are you just bored? Being a prince must be nice if you've got time to waste on me. Julian got salty fast. Says the guy who stabbed himself like a total clown. You really think you have the right to talk? Ignoring that L take, Julian kept his cool. I heard some spicy gossip, brother. His tone got toxic real quick. Heard you made a bet with Count Banla H to duel a rank 2 knight? Julian chuckled, looking like a total villain. Since that's the case, why not let me be your opponent instead? After that bold-faced challenge, Andrion just nodded like, oh, so you've chosen death? Still, he was absolutely pressed. Who even was that clown earlier? Why is every descendant of the Leon Bach bloodline a total NPC? C stepped in to spill the tea, mentioning that the third Prince Jan had been a sword prodigy since he was a kid. Andrian's jaw hit the floor. Say what now? That brat? C continued. He wove 2 magic circles at age 14, which is honestly cracked. Andrian couldn't hide his shock for real. Suddenly, a servant came rushing in. Your Highness, forgive the intrusion, but she brought a stack of letters and said they're all addressed to you. Andrian's eyes narrowed with major suspicion. Letters? Why were these people, who usually treated his body like trash, suddenly acting thirsty? As he scanned the contents, his brows knit together in pure annoyance. Andrian stayed silent, leaving everyone else confused as hell. Meanwhile, he slowly processed the cringe apology notes. Your Highness, I apologize for the last incident. I humbly request a duel. If you're struggling to find opponents, please give me the honor first. Andrian quickly did the math, so in short, this is their excuse to beat up a loser legally. That's the vibe, right? His blood started boiling. Seems like I've become an easy target, huh? Andrian snapped his fingers, calling for her. She jumped to attention immediately. Yes, he demanded, his voice radiating pure menace. Everyone who sent these letters, write down every single one of their names for me. After the meal, Bu just yeeted a sword at him out of nowhere. Andrian stared at him, completely bewildered by the boomer energy. Bu didn't bother with small talk. Pick it up. He continued, you need at least some sword skills if the bet is going to be worth anything, right? I don't want to hear you crying about lacking basics after you lose. Andrian picked up the blade, thinking, could have just handed it to me like a normal person. What a weirdo. Right then, Andrian flinched, his entire body shuddering from the sheer soul-crushing muscle pain. Bu noticed immediately. Wait a minute. He grabbed him and asked, you didn't get any magic healing for that? Andrian looked at him like he was stupid. You're a knight, aren't you? You should know this. He casually dropped the hard truth. Magic healing only resets the muscles to their original state. It doesn't actually make them stronger. Bu nodded, finally catching the drift. Right, he said, returning to his stoic persona. Anyway, that's not what I wanted to talk about. Suddenly, B drew his sword with lethal precision. I'm not doing this twice, so keep your eyes glued to me. He surged mana into the blade. This was the fundamental training technique for all knights in the kingdom. The sword began to move, seemingly down in time as he entered the zone. At the perfect moment, Bo's eyes widened with intense focus, and he unleashed a strike with cold, calculated finality. He wasn't done yet, spinning his body to slice toward the left, then shifted his footing to deliver a massive blow to the right, finally gripping the hilt tight and raising the blade high above his head. With a final strike, Bo swings his blade, slicing through the air like an absolute menace. The shockwave from the swing clears away all the dust in the vicinity. Talk about main character aura. Andrian is standing there, jaw on the floor, looking like a total NPC witnessing a god-tier play. He finally finds his voice, asking, wait, you actually called that a basic Knight's Foundation sword style? Bu clicks his tongue, annoyed that his cover or lack thereof is getting blown. He brushes it off with a Chad-like shrug. It's a training blade, kid. Lacks bite, but it's the goat for basics. Honestly, with your mid-tier talent, even this might be too much for you. Before the sentence even lands, a laugh breaks the tension. It's Andrian, holding his face while chuckling. He's looking back at memories that are living rent-free in his head. The Dragon Slayer sword style, the legendary technique that literally beheaded a mad dragon. He thinks to himself, is this dude really calling that top-tier meta just a basic training drill? Bu starts yapping again. This won't be enough to win your bet. Once you're done with the basics, go beg your mommy for a real tutor, but Andrian shuts him down immediately. No need, Andrian declares with absolute conviction. I'm not learning anything else. This is the only style I need. Bu raises a brow, unimpressed, and just grunts, do whatever you want, fraud. Andrian gets back to grinding, reflecting on how the world turned the ultimate Dragon Slayer art into some trash-tier exercise. He wipes the sweat off his face. He doesn't want to admit it, but he gets why people look down on it. He realizes the truth. The modern sword style has completely lost its dragon-slaying will. He disses the modern era. These NPCs ditched their mana hearts and forgot how to pour their intent into the blade, so how could they possibly recognize a masterpiece? Suddenly, Bu stops his blade mid-swing. Andrian is caught off guard, completely stunned. Bu drops some elite-tier wisdom. You think just flexing your arms adds power? Did you already forget what I taught you, brat? Bu starts poking him, focus the power in your core. Then kicks his legs and use your base, you clumsy noob. The pain hits and Andrian stumbles. He's gotta learn how to flow the energy through his whole body if he wants to actually wield the sword. Still, he's locked in, that's it. Andrian forces himself back up. Even though this body is currently absolute trash and can't even mimic a bootleg version of the technique, he grips his sword with main character energy. I'll prove that this isn't some outdated junk to be tossed away like a worn-out sneaker. Days turn into a montage, his steps get sharper. Day 1, Day 2, Bian is literally speed-running his training. 3 days, then non-stop drills. A week passes, he's stacking mana, and then a whole month of pure grind. Right when he's reaching his limit, system notification hits the screen. Andreon freezes as the logs start spamming his progress. His stance is finally looking clean, his swordplay becoming sharp, fast, and high tier. The more he grinds, the more hyped Andreon gets. He's definitely cooking now. He's completely zoned into the rhythm of the blade. Even when people start yelling for him to stop, it's all just background noise. Andreon doesn't give a damn. He's just trying to be a better version of himself than he was yesterday. His eyes are locked on the blade. He's officially in the zone. Bew kept yelling for him to stop, but Andreon just kept swinging, moving with even more insane perfection than before. It wasn't until the old man roared that he finally snapped out of it. "Are you deaf? I told you to stop!" In that heartbeat, his sword shattered into 1,000 pieces, littering the ground like trash. Amidst the torrential downpour, only 3 people were left in the yard under Andreon's gaze, as blood started pooling, painting the freezing rainwater a deep, ominous crimson. Finally, Andreon blinked, looking at his uncle with that classic main character spaced-out look. Then his eyes drifted forward, and the sight that hit him was absolutely wild. The wooden stake had been utterly incinerated into charred ruins. Even under the biting cold rain, that wooden pillar was still steaming like a furnace. Andreon stood frozen, his brain lagging from the sheer shock of his own power. Bew scoffed, "You absolute idiot, training in weather like this. If that were a real sword, you'd be a corpse by now." The roast hit home, and Andreon slowly looked down at his own calloused hands. That's when he actually noticed the damage he'd done to his skin. Suddenly, system notification, hyperfocus skill has been successfully acquired. Unable to hold it back, Andreon started laughing like a total madman. Before the exhaustion hit him like a truck. "If I focus 2 more times, I'm legit gonna get smited by lightning." Bew saw him collapse and rushed over. "Your Highness, wake up!" Bell stood there, watching Andreon with a look of pure suspicion. Even while the kid was passed out, the old man couldn't help but mutter about what a reckless brat he was. Time skipped ahead, and after a while, Andreon snapped his eyes open, bolting upright like he'd just seen a ghost. "Wait, did I just black out?" He let out a heavy, disappointed sigh. "I still have no idea what the limit of this body is. Back in his prime, I'd conquered every peak as a master swordsman. War hero, sword saint, king of mercenaries, founding father of empires. I led wars to victory and pushed my body and soul to the literal apex. I was the one who paved the path for every hero. Gruhon, a wise mentor and a top-tier teacher, but always stuck in the sidelines, just another NPC in the grand scheme." Back in reality, Andreon inspected his burning, blistered hands. He recalled that rush, "That's exactly why I kept swinging until I reached that zone, addicted to turning pure sweat, grit, and hard work into my own personal W." Andreon clenched his fist. "At this rate, this weak sauce body is gonna fold. I need to balance this mental grind with physical recovery." With that resolve, he closed his eyes. "It's been over a month since I formed my mana heart. I've stacked enough mana, time to level up to the next phase." As the thought crossed his mind, the mana inside him erupted. His mana heart manifested in his chest, and the flame surrounding it began to roar with absolute aura. From a pale mid-tier blue, it shifted into a dense, deep sapphire that looked straight-up lethal. The next second, Andreon grabbed the mana in his hand, suppressing it with sheer willpower. His muscles began to surge with peak-tier density, even his bones were getting that SSS-grade upgrade. Once the sequence hit 100%, Andreon snapped his eyes open, felt that main character aura, and couldn't help but flex. Job done. He locked eyes with the blade, no hesitation, he grabbed that steel. The moment he swung it, the system pinged, class unlocked, novice swordsman. He felt different, man. This is it, the fundamentals are finally in the bag. Just then, Bo dropped the bomb. "Rumors about you are spreading through the kingdom like a virus." Andreon acted clueless. "Rumors?" Bo sighed like a true NPC tired of the drama. "That bet you made, it's getting so much heat even I'm starting to feel the second-hand embarrassment." He pushed. "Wouldn't it be smarter to find a sparring partner, like yesterday?" Andreon just smirked. "Oh, that?" The villainous grin returned. "About the opponent, I've already got someone in mind." He probed further. "Besides, it's a massive L to jump into a two-sword style fight right now. How about I start by mogging some one-sword scrubs first?" Bo nodded. "Your call, your highness." With that cleared, Andreon switched gears. "So, how's that favor I asked for?" Bo pulled out the parchment with zero chill. "As you requested, your highness. Here's the list of people itching to clap back at you." But he looked worried. "Wait, your highness, are you actually going to spar with these guys?" Andreon didn't even blink. "And if I am?" Bo dropped the analysis. "Most of these guys hold a grudge. They'll try to turn a friendly match into a permanent casket closing." Andreon wasn't sweating it, I know. He made the offer, "You're going to be the ref for me." He didn't want to make life harder for his uncle. Andreon hit him with the logic. "I'm not asking for much. Just make sure nobody actually dies in the arena. You can handle that, right?" A few days later on fight day, Taylor arrived and his jaw hit the floor. Towering over him was the main palace, the absolute gigachad residency of the first prince where that total fraud lives. He started monologuing his backstory. "I'm Taylor Teohem, the second son of a mid-tier baron house. A few years back, Andreon had laughed at him. Look at this absolute mess." He roasted everything. His outfit, his vibes, calling him a total country bumpkin just for getting hyped about a royal ball. That's when the grudge hit. "My father and brother had to eat so much dirt because of that degenerate prince." Taylor's eyes went dark. His family's honor straight up nerfed to zero, while his family the court's favorite clown, Andreon Leon Beck. He walked onto the arena stage with pure malice. Today, you're paying the tax for that humiliation. He gave a fake bow. Greetings, Your Highness. Prince Andreon Leon Beck. Taylor sneered. I'm Taylor of the Tiohem line, a level 1 novice knight and the true heir to the Tiohem sword style. Andreon's response? A massive yawn. Bro, why so serious? It's just a sparring match, not a canon event. He squinted. Wait, is this guy actually a knight? He looks like a total pushover. Taylor was mauling now. Just like the rumors said, rude, arrogant, and doesn't know his place. Right on cue, Bo stepped in. Enough. He walked over and checked him. I get the salt, but the match hasn't started yet. Lower your aura. As soon as Taylor saw Bo, his fanboy eyes lit up. Is that the Count? Taylor speedbowed. It's a massive honor to meet you, sir. Bo kept it 100. Yeah, good to see you too. Andreon sighed from the sidelines. People are definitely going to think he's the one with the royal bloodline. Bo kept nagging. You really should behaved better in the past, and honestly, my guy bringing up the past again? Rent-free much? The old man stepped between them. Positions, both of you, and just like that, the match started. Taylor went full sweat mode while Andreon stood there, looking completely bored. In the blink of an eye, his mana chains erupted with pure chaotic energy, and he smirked. Well then, Your Highness. Taylor screamed a warning as he lunged forward. Watch yourself. Faster than an NPC hitting a wall, he leaped, blade aiming straight for Andreon's neck. Andreon didn't even blink, dryly remarking, way too many unnecessary movements, bro. With zero effort, Andreon deflected the attack like it was nothing. Taylor finally realized, wait, that's a mana heart? Before he could process the L he was about to take, Andreon tossed him back like trash. Taylor panicked. How does a mana heart block mana chains? Meanwhile, Andreon was just thinking, is he struggling because he's only got one circle? Andreon started channeling his mana. Honestly, it barely felt like a tickle. The sudden shift in aura had the kid shook to his core. The soldiers were staring, mouths agape. Boo recognized that sound from the sword immediately. Sword resonance, Bu muttered, while Taylor just kept coping. This is impossible, there's no way. Triggered and mauling, Taylor charged in again. This shouldn't be happening. The sudden aggression actually caught Andreon off guard for a split second, but Andreon recovered instantly, playing perfect defense. Taylor went full button masher, forcing Andreon back until their blades clashed with a bone-shaking force. The gap in their stats was real. Taylor went sliding across the arena like he was on ice. They both backed off, catching their breath, looking like they'd just run a marathon. Andreon thought to himself, they say circular mana and heart mana don't mix? Yeah, that actually checks out. Touching his heart with a smug grin, he added, I can feel the mana backflow hitting any second now. Then he dropped the ego check. So you're the second son of Baron Teohi, right? Andreon decided to speedrun the provocation. You sound like someone who needs to cool that hot head of yours. He closed his eyes, locking into his senses, his vision shifted, reality warping around him. Andreon was suddenly submerged in an abyss of deep water. Seizing the moment, he reached out into the void, awaken. He drifted closer to the evil dragon. Doesn't matter if it's called a magic sword, holy blade, or whatever, he was locked in. The moment he made contact, a blinding light exploded. The sleeping dragon glared, while Andreon began to merge with its raw, primal essence. The memories of the sword's last stand, paired with the heart crafted for the sole purpose of dragon slaying. System alert, Dragon Slayer heart pulse detected. For a single frame, Andreon's eyes glowed a lethal crimson red. The evil dragon now coiled around him, forged for one singular purpose, total annihilation. Witness the raw, unbridled power of the dragon-slaying sword, absolute peak performance. Meanwhile, Taylor is shaking like an NPC facing a final boss. The killing intent is literally paralyzing him. What is this guy even wielding? Over on the sidelines, B is screaming at him to cut it out. But Andreon has gone full berserk. The man has zero chill and is charging in like a total madman. Seeing that blade, even the old man realizes this isn't a toy, it's a walking death sentence. Rewind the tape. Before the spar, Andreon gave him a heads up, Uncle, I need a massive favor before we start. B looks over, eyes narrowed. What is it? Andreon casually drops a bombshell. If it looks like I'm about to murder my opponent, as B reaches for his sword, the old man closes the gap faster than a speed hacker. You better step in and shut me down. Uncle B straight up deletes Andreon, sending him flying into the stone wall like a rag doll. He doesn't even hesitate, immediately pivoting to body block for Taylor. Look at Andreon, dude is lights out, completely cooked after that counter. Yet in a twist, even B ends up with a blade pointed at his throat. The guards are losing their minds. Count Bandler, what did you just do? You're one wrong move away from a treason charge, you know. Andreon gasps out an explanation. Back off. I literally asked him to do that. Your Highness, what? Andreon is busy wiping blood off his chin like a true protagonist. I told him to stop me, and then he hits the floor again. I never said you had to knock me into next week. The crowd panics. Your Highness, the Dragon Slayer's heart is finally cooling down. He sighs in relief. I seriously thought my mana heart was about to shatter. Andreon starts internalizing the L. Uncle's stats are just built different compared to those bottom-tier scrubs I usually fight, and I took that hit point blank. Still, he's grinning like a Chad. No long-term debuffs, but man, does it hurt. He switches, everything worked out. Plus, I won the match, so W. Suddenly, B cuts the victory lap short. What are you laughing at? Andreon turns, looking totally clueless. Huh? He's genuinely curious. What brings you here, Uncle? B doesn't care. He wants answers. Explain yourself. Right now. The tone is aggressive. What kind of cursed demonic weapon is that? I never taught you any sword style that rotten. Andreon stays ice cold. I'm just staying true to the essence of the blade. That answer makes the old man frown. You're talking about the essence of the blade when you've never even seen a real battlefield? But B is starting to vibe with it, so in your eyes, the essence of the sword is pure unfiltered killing intent. No matter how brutal or gross it feels, it's still the objective truth. Andreon scoffs, visibly color me surprised. He starts roasting his uncle. I thought you were going to go on a long-winded tangent about how the path of the sword is perfection or some other knighty trash. B doesn't even blink. I'm a soldier, not a generic knight. I choose the path of victory over the path of justice any day. He doesn't stop there. B's voice drops, turning serious. But keep this in mind, your blade has gone off the deep end. If you let that killing intent consume you, you won't even be able to tell the difference between your allies and your prey. He averted his gaze, acting all mysterious. Oh, so that's why you're causing such a scene, huh? Trying to fix your rep, are we? Then the old man drops the bomb. I'll be watching you, boy. Let's see if the demon inside you consumes your soul or if you actually grow a pair. As the 3-day training arc hits its peak, his sword slams into the ground with absolute Chad energy. Andreon suddenly pivots. You're Taylor Teoham, right? He hits him with a classic good job speech. Sincere or just high-tier acting? You decide. Little did Taylor know, Andreon had been tanking bloodlust-filled sword swings for 3 days straight. Man's been cooking in hell. Truly a legendary grind set, then Andreon sucks for you, honestly. You'd probably feel way better if you could folded me just once, but you failed. Total skill issue. Taylor just stands there, absolutely shook. Before Taylor could even process the disrespect, Andreon signals his side piece, the maid, to bring the loot. Taylor stares at the chest like an NPC. Your Highness, what is this? Andreon hits him with the my bad speech. I heard I did some cringe stuff to you in the past. Not sure if this makes up for it, but here's your compensation. Andreon flexes the bag. Take this back to Baron Teoham, it's not much, just some gold and a letter. Consider it hush money. Then he dips immediately. Get lost, safe travels. Andreon's internal monologue is just, I didn't sign up to clean up this fraud's garbage. Taylor bows. Thank you, Your Highness, but Andreon just keeps glazing his own logic. Whatever, gotta pay people for their labor, that's just business. Just like that, the Trash Prince's training match becomes the talk of the kingdom. His own arrogance really did a number on his public image. The streets are buzzing. The first prince is definitely cooked for his past crimes. How much public shaming will he take before he breaks? They waited for the drama, but the tea never spilled. When asked about it, Taylor looked confused. You guys want the match recap? Taylor and the others act like NPCs. Nah, you guys got it twisted. The prince isn't the villain you think he is. We both just went hard, that's it. Threatened? Nah, I just finally understood the prince's hidden depths. Everyone in the peanut gallery is shocked. What kind of black magic is this? The royals definitely bribed them to keep their mouths shut. Andreon slams the table, absolutely heated. When he hears they think he silenced them, he screams, Silence my foot. They're only keeping their mouths shut because their pride is hurt after getting mogged by me. He mutters, these nobles have too much free time. Don't they have actual work to do? Beo, being the ultimate troll, hits back. Says the guy who does nothing but cause trouble. Andreon ignores the old man and stares down his sparring partner. He hits him with the final boss stare. Make sure you spread the actual results of the match when you get out there. Clear? Taylor nods faster than a speedrunner. I will, Your Highness. Andreon satisfied. Finally, the rumors should die down, right? Andreon gets the news of the century. Wait, what did you just say? His servant stammers, terrified. Well, the rumors say you threatened him to fake the match results. Andreon is speechless. His rage hits the ceiling. Time to turn that salt into pure training fuel. Forget it. Just forget the drama. Let's just get back to training, yeah? Andreon swings his sword with lethal precision. Level up. Training arc efficiency increased. He wasn't done yet. Our MC unleashes another strike, faster than the eye can track. Pivoting on his heel, he grips his blade with both hands, channeling every ounce of his aura into a single earth-shattering downswing. The fight's over, but the air is still screaming, crackling with residual mana that's literally burning the atmosphere. And yet Andreon's heart is still hammering like a rhythm game on expert mode. Lost in thought, he drops the question, how many challengers are actually left? His lackeys scramble to answer, that last one was the final boss of the day, sir. Andreon rolls his eyes, bored out of his mind. These apprentice knights are absolute mid, they don't even challenge me anymore. His subordinate C chimes in with the deets. Wait, hold up, this last one is built different. A knight actually trained in real swordplay. Khan adds even more hype, stressing that this person isn't just grinding local family techniques. This is a literal prodigy who joined the prestigious Knights Order for the real deal. Andreon's face lights up immediately. An apprentice from the Iron Lion Knights? Now we're talking. Right on cue, Awen rolls up to the scene. The gate guards are losing their minds, low-key simping the moment she arrives. Is that really her? Look at the lion emblem on that armor, no cap, it's actually her. They start gossiping like middle schoolers. The rose on the cliff, the thorny beauty who's left a trail of broken hearts across the kingdom. She just keeps walking, absolutely unfazed, oozing main character energy. The soldiers are absolutely down bad. She's a total goddess, bro. I can't believe a high-tier waifu like that came here herself. Then someone drops a comment that makes her freeze. Honestly, for once, the prince actually has some game, doesn't he? Owen's eyes go ice cold. Her gaze could shatter steel, and the atmosphere gets tense real quick. Wouldn't it be a total comedy sketch if the prince got absolutely face-slapped by her? See, the Iron Lion Knights aren't just for show. They're the top-tier guild in the kingdom, respected for both their elite rep and insane skill ceiling. Awen, their prize apprentice, is a walking legend in the making, confirmed to be fast-tracked to official status. Andreon is sweating, trying to process this. Why is a god-tier talent like that here to duel me? She stammers, well look, There was a bit of a misunderstanding between you and Lady Owen back in the day. Wait, misunderstanding? With his personality, he definitely just acted like an unhinged villain. He turns to Adelia and demands the truth. You over there, spill the tea. What exactly did I do back then? Put on the spot, she awkwardly stutters. Well, Your Highness. And the next sentence makes Andrian's soul leave his body. You harassed Lady Owen, sir. Andrian grabs his head, spiraling. You absolute degenerated trash me. Flashback to Andrian being a total creep, cornering Owen like a stereotypical side character villain. He actually had the audacity to say, You're Owen, right? Rumors didn't lie, you're a total hottie. How about it? Want to be my personal maid? She didn't even hesitate, swatting his hand away like a pest. Owen straight up clapped back. Your Highness, a knight is not some piece of property for you to collect. The fragile ego kicked in and he shouted like a brainless NPC, you ugly wench. Hearing the recap, our MC is stunned into silence. That's what the servant told me. Andrian looks up, feeling like an absolute piece of garbage for acting like such a stereotypical cringy loser. And there she stands, Owen. No way in hell anyone could look at a queen like that and call her ugly. She's cold, she's distant, and she's absolutely carrying the scene with that high-tier elegance. Then Owen decided to break the ice. Long time no see, Your Highness. You haven't changed one bit. Our boy stuttered back, I don't think so. I've changed a lot, like, my soul is basically a completely different build now, you know? But her gaze was still icy enough to freeze hell. Yeah, fair point. This is clearly just karma for his past sins. Right on cue, Adelia drops the news. Count Bannerhath has entered the chat. As he glided past, Owen froze like her game just glitched. She pulled herself together and bowed. I am Owen, trainee knight of the Iron Lion Order. Owen Jean, at your service, Count. The Count didn't sugarcoat it. Watch yourself, the prince's sword style is brutal. Andrian immediately whined, Hey, what happened to your neutral observer stance, old man? Bo didn't even care, he just kept the hype train rolling. And with his command, Andrian locked in, his eyes gleaming with battle-ready energy. Awen went full try-hard mode, face set in stone. Both combatants took their positions. Bo stood his ground and dropped the signal. The duel begins right now. Before the words even hit the air, she was already blitzing toward him, blade in hand. Andrian was loving every second of it. Let's see what this Iron Lion prodigy is really made of. He let Owen take the lead, his eyes tracking every single movement like a HUD display. Not gonna lie, her footwork is actually cracked. He blocked her opening strike with ease, but suddenly, wait, why does that sting? His mana started surging in reverse, talk about a debuff. Owen narrowed her eyes, poured some extra juice into her blades, and sent Andrian flying like he was made of paper. Then came the combo top-tier DPS barrage. Andrian realized he was getting cooked, trapped in her tempo. This isn't good. Just as Awen lunged forward like a literal predator, he triggered his Dragon Slayer heart passive. The sudden bloodlust was enough to break her focus. Clang, the sound of steel meeting steel echoed across the arena. The difference? Awen was the one forced to backpedal. She landed with the grace of a total S-tier queen. Breathless and shocked, she stared at her sword. Andrian grinned. Guess not all training dummies are built the same. You're definitely leagues above the typical trash mobs I've been farming. Taking advantage of the lag, he activated Judgment. Awen's entire stat window popped up right in front of Andrian's face. Once he parsed the data, he regained his composure. So my limited authority can still pull up these specs. The next second, Andrian flashed a sinister Chad-tier smirk. Owen felt that aura shift and went into full defensive mode. She's either weaker or on par with him. In a blink, he dashed forward at max speed. She reacted with the exact same sweaty APM. As they clashed again, he declared, All right, the real fight starts now. The battle was an absolute scrap and Andrian was looking straight up cooked. Awen wasn't doing any better, gasping for air like a total NPC running out of stamina. The sky started to fade, the golden hour hitting the arena like a background in a high-budget anime. Suddenly, Bo swung his sword, the universal sign that the sparring session was getting nerfed. He dropped the order. Call it a day, boys and girls, we're picking this back up tomorrow. Andrian clicked his tongue, radiating pure main character salt. Bruh, I was just about to end this. Awen hit him with the counterplay, totally unfazed. What a coincidence, I was literally about to do the same. Old habits die hard, so he taunted her. Oh, wanna keep catching these hands? And Owen, the absolute queen, didn't hesitate. If you want to keep getting clapped, I've got all day. But Bo, the ultimate party pooper, stepped in again. Enough, seriously. He glared at the royal healer. It's late as hell, get these two patched up now. The healer practically fanned himself, rushing to the prince. Your Highness, let me tend to your wounds immediately. Even while getting healed, Andrian couldn't keep his eyes off her, thinking, damn, she's got bruises too. That's gotta hurt. He didn't even try to hide the gaze, just straight up mogging her with his focus. Owen noticed the staring contest and shot him a side-eye that could kill. They both collectively decided to play it cool and ignored each other like exes in the hallway. But deep down, they were both vibing on the same wavelength. I am absolutely not taking the L today. The days dragged on, and the soldiers were buzzing. Nobody could tell who was winning this 1v1. One grunt asked, is this like day 3 now? Another one marveled, honestly. I'm low-key impressed. He whispered, I've heard the hype about Owen, but the prince is actually cracked too. They all turned their eyes to the stage. Please, just let us see a winner today. Suddenly, Andrian drops the bomb. Before we start round 100, I've got something to say. Owen immediately went into don't try me mode. Don't tell me you're about to apologize. She leveled up the cold energy. Because I'm not accepting any apologies, Your Highness. Andrian just nodded, respectful. I get it, you want to fix your bruised ego with your own hands. I respect the grind. Then he shrugged, but nah, it ain't about that. He flashed a cocky grin. Since we're working this hard, shouldn't there be a prize on the line? He dropped the stakes, and the whole crowd went silent. The loser has to grant the winner one wish. Anything. You want me to kneel? You want an apology? You get to call the shots. Awen hesitated. This was a high-stakes gamble even for her. The soldiers were losing their minds. Your Highness, you're literal royalty. You can't just say that. Take it back. Andrian swatted them away like flies. Mind your own business. Why are there so many spectators? He turned back to her. Well, what do you say? Awen took a sec to compute, playing the loyal knight card. Even if I'm just a low-tier apprentice, I'm still with the Leon Beck Knights. I wouldn't dare be that disrespectful to the prince. Then, her aura did a 180. However, if your highness is granting permission for this bet, then I guess I'm entitled to a reward too. Andrian's grin went wide. That's the savage energy he was looking for. Not bad, I like the way you think. The next second, they charged at each other like maniacs. Don't go back on your word now, bestie. Andrian stopped playing around, and the clash of swords sounded absolutely deafening. Awen wasn't about to lose, dropping a massive AoE attack. Then her eyes flashed crimson as she spotted an opening. Before she could even process it, Andrian brought the pain with a lightning-fast strike. Awen was shook, like, how is he this fast? He was mid-tier yesterday, what happened? Looking at him now, he's giving total unhinged protagonist energy. Don't tell me this man was hiding his true stats the whole time? The tables turned fast, and our girl was getting pushed back into the corner. One minor slip-up from Awen and that blade nearly deleted her existence. By the time they reset, the training arena was already looking like a total disaster zone. Awen couldn't even track his movements, she was straight up lagging. Meanwhile, Andrian was coming in hot with that main character aura, pure bloodlust. Both of them clashed in a flurry of swordplay, parry, counter, repeat. Finally, one of their blades was sent flying into the shadow realm. Awen collapsed helpless with her weapon snapped in two like a stick. The soldiers watching were losing their minds, and even Bo looked like his brain had just factory reset. Awen was still stunned, trying to comprehend reality, while Andrian's shadow loomed over her. I won the bet. He pointed his sword right at her and dropped the name Awen Sen. A smirk crawled onto his face, then he dropped the bombshell, I want you. C was stressing about being the royal guard for the first prince. You know, that infamous trash-tier villain everyone hates, but honestly, it wasn't that deep. When they first met, Andrian asked, so you're the new royal guard? C bowed respectfully, yes, your highness, honored to serve. C judged him as a bit of an arrogant NPC, but the prince just gave a cold fine. I'm counting on you, proving the rumors about his random violence were major cap. As the training days dragged on, C kept a close watch, getting more and more suspicious. Nah, the reality was the complete opposite of the gossip. Even during a literal storm, Andrian was out there grinding, swinging his sword like a madman. The others started tweaking. The rain is insane. Should we stop his highness? C couldn't help but shout, your highness, be careful. No sooner had he spoken, a lightning bolt slammed down from the heavens. But Andrian? He just looked like he was having the time of his life. Watching that expression, C was left absolutely speechless. Deep down, C knew it for a fact. This prince was destined to be an absolute legend. Back to the present, C realized those were his exact thoughts, and now Andrian is staring him down, saying, I want you. The soldiers watching were all caught in 4K, absolutely mortified by the scene. C's starting to have doubts, did he actually misjudge this guy? As for Awen, she forces herself to stand up, her voice trembling with pure unadulterated salt. Is that really what your highness truly desires? Andrian claps back with zero chill. Look at you, currently a bottom-tier squire who can't even mog a trash-tier prince. He flashes that signature smirk. What I really want, Awen, is your potential and your future. He doubles down cold and calculated. I need a knight who serves me, not some puppet forced on me by a royal decree. C is shook, absolutely baffled by this Chad move. Andrian keeps dropping facts. I want a knight who belongs to me, and from what I've seen, he checks the system UI and drops a truth bomb. Your swordplay stats are actually goated. The tone shifts from savage to serious as he turns to Awen Kyan. He drops the recruitment invite again, be my knight. Her mind flashes back to the trauma. She chased her dream of becoming a knight, but all she heard were NPCs whispering, is that the girl? She's just a pretty face. The cope is real, and it made her grind twice as hard to prove the haters wrong. In every spar, she was straight up dominating zero diff. System notification, Awen Kyan. But the W's didn't stop there. Even after wiping the floor with every other rookie, she kept swinging, absolutely cooking everyone in her path. She kept running that cycle, proving her stats were S tier. But everyone still just saw a campus goddess. Isn't she the academy's mascot? Protecting such a beauty is our honor. Awen just felt like a total fraud, giving up on ever being seen as a real warrior. Back to the present, she's shivering, staring at Andrian in disbelief. He actually sees her worth as a knight, not just a decoration. She's still paranoid. Is this a trap or is he being legit? She bites the bullet and drops the request. Your highness, promise me one thing. She speaks with that absolute mommy energy. Treat me as your knight, not as a woman. She's playing it cautious. If you can respect that, I'll pledge my blade to you. Silence hits, they lock eyes, and Awen refuses to back down. Andrian nods, simple and clean. Deal. She steps back and under the aesthetic sunset drops to one knee. The oath is sworn. Awen, eldest daughter of House Kyan, I pledge my absolute loyalty to Prince Andrian Leon Beck. In front of everyone, she commits her sword and her entire future to him. Total main character energy. B is watching from the shadows, absolutely silent, probably coping hard. Andrian draws his blade, carrying the weight of the Leon Beck legacy. In the name of the crown, I dub thee my knight. Awen bows her head, soaking in the vibe. Be brave, be refined, and let the skies burn red. He adds the final command, serious and cold, and above all else, be loyal. As the arc progresses, Awen hits the grindstone. The training arc starts now. Other soldiers started whispering, swearing loyalty to that trash? Are you kidding me? A vow based on a rigged bet? We gotta find a way to break it. Another guy just shrugged, but I heard she personally refused our help. The rumors just got more toxic. Good grief, the vibes are absolutely rancid. Is there something shady going on with the prince? Maybe he can't make her his mistress publicly to save his reputation, so he's using the knight's oath as a smokescreen. It was fishy from the start. Why would she even show up to a rigged match hosted by that bottom-tier trash? When the gossip reached Andrion, he snapped, "Are you insane? Do I look like some kind of villain to you?" He was literally shaking with rage. Am I really the biggest piece of trash on the planet? C stood by his side, watching him quietly. Suddenly, he whispered, "Your Highness." C went straight to the point about what was said that day, but the prince had no clue what he was even talking about. Seeing that, he reminded him, a few days ago on the day of the final duel, Andrian finally clicked. You mean the Imperial Order requiring a knight to protect me? That? He quickly brushed it off. Does that bother you? It's just the truth. If an Imperial Order came today telling you to go somewhere else, you'd leave anyway, right? Then Andrian started teasing him. If you really want to, you can make the vow later, though he hesitated a bit on the other parts. If I told you I'd fulfill the vow, would you accept it? But the prince immediately shook his head. Andrion kept it 100. I don't want to raise you. You're not that interesting. C laughed happily at that. Is that so? Andrion thought to himself, I wasn't joking. I was dead serious. A moment later, he held a notification letter. What did I do now? Even Andrion was confused. Who would have thought they'd lift his house arrest a month and a half early? A flash of that angry expression crossed his mind. After they acted like they'd lock him in the Grand Prince's palace forever and never let him out again. He shook his head. I don't get what that man is thinking at all. Meanwhile, C wondered, are you not happy the house arrest is over, my lord? C. Andrion replied with zero energy, I couldn't care less. Even if I leave the palace, I've got nowhere to go and no one to meet. I don't know a soul. As for Adelia, she suddenly jumped in shock. Then she awkwardly stammered, I'm sorry, I just saw an invitation addressed to your highness. Her attitude made him suspicious. An invitation? She hurriedly handed him the letter. Yes, it's this one. Andrion grabbed it and scanned the text. A social club for young nobles? Really? Adelia explained, it's a social gathering that your highness used to be a member of. This actually caught him off guard. Me? Seriously? He then asked, is it some kind of weird place? Adelia hesitated, looking confused. Well, for someone like me, the refined hobbies of these young nobles are impossible to understand. Andrion shut it down instantly. So, it's just a booze and chicks party. Forget it, I'm busy enough with my training. Why would I waste my time at a useless gathering like that? Suddenly, Andrion's eyes caught something on the back of the letter. Sent with respect from Lee. The MC's interest was officially piqued. Lee. He searched his brain for the name. Right, I remember now. According to my uncle, they're the family that stubbornly chased Mana's heart until the end and eventually went broke and ruined 100 years ago. Andrion made a complete U-turn. Actually, I think I'll go. Adelia immediately snapped into action. Understood, I'll prepare your outfit. As for Andrion, he thought to himself, I hope that family isn't completely washed up yet. After body-snatching this absolute trash of a first prince and spending 4 months on that grind, the tailor is acting like a total fanboy. Your Highness, are you satisfied with the fit? I didn't miss a single one of your demands. He's flexing every detail, keeping it stealthy and all black. Then he checks out the new boots and calls the aesthetic minimalist. Man's cooking with the style. Andrion just radiates that main character aura, leaving the tailor shook by the sheer drip. The tailor's just there simping, nodding along like a true NPC. I've seriously shed some serious weight, Andrion notes. The tailor practically shrieks. Your measurements have literally been halved, Your Highness. Andrion casually drops, I'll need the outfit for the royal banquet, so get on it. The tailor's eyes light up like a gotcha pull, but Andrion hits him with the, actually, wait a bit, my measurements are gonna change again. Time for the party. The house arrest is finally off, and now I'm heading to that exclusive club for special noble brats. What a canon event for a disaster. My knight's still here, basically playing bodyguard to make sure I don't get jumped by the plot. Inside the carriage, Andrion lets out a massive yawn. Being a prince is a full-time L. Honestly, it's just exhausting. The vibe is rancid. The clothes, the carriage, the guards, everything feels like it's choking me. Total mid-energy. Suddenly, Andrion's gaze shifts to something else entirely. Across from him, Adelia flinches hard, looking terrified just from being looked at. Andri zeroes in on her neck and asks, what's with that scar? She immediately starts groveling. That's my incompetence, Your Highness. You were right to scold me for it. Meanwhile, Andrion is having a midlife crisis, thinking, why does every time I dig into this body's past, I find more cursed lore? Watching Adelia tremble, he gets curious. Come to think of it, I've seen this maid for months and I don't even know her name. Andrion decides to stop being a total fraud and initiates a conversation. What's your name? Adelia stammers, I am Adelia Bayan, Your Highness. Andrion's face goes stone cold. Bayan? She whispers that it's a bottom-tier noble house that basically doesn't exist on the map. But Andrion's mind is racing. No way, I'm hearing that name again in a place like this? Digging through the archives of his ancient memories. Back before the kingdoms, before the continents, back when humans were just getting mogged by every other race. That was the era when humans were basically NPCs, getting farmed and slaughtered like it was nothing. But then some absolute chads pulled up and put a hard stop to that miserable history. By the end of the Great War, these legends who dragged humanity from the gutter to the top of the food chain were immortalized as the 5 great archdukes. In a moment of pure spectacle, a crimson cloak dances in the wind. It's one of the 5 heroes. Ednis flashes a smile his way. Gruhon grabs his hand, asking casually, "Have you ever thought about it?" As a swarm of monsters charges them, about what we're gonna do once this war is finally over. But Ednis? Her eyes aren't even trembling. She's got that peak I'm the protagonist energy. In the blink of an eye, she vanishes, moving at speed blitzing levels. Ednis launches herself at the pack leader head-on. No fear, just pure skill. And just like that, she pulls off a miracle. She decapitates the King of Giants, ending an era of endless oppression, absolute W. She tears it to shreds with surgical precision. As the memories flood back, he whispers her name, the blood-iron sword, Ednis Bayan. She takes flight, but the roar of the horde fills the air. The giants are surrounding her. Look at these NPCs with their low-tier mana flickering like a dying light, absolute cringe. She kept roasting them. You crawling back for seconds? You degenerates only have one thing on your pea-sized brains. Pure hatred in her eyes, she folds another one. Honestly, bodies like yours are just meant to be trash-tier fodder. Her tone gets even sharper. You're only capable of low-level brainless acts. You deserve to be put down like the dogs you are. Gruhon is sweating buckets, looking like a total fraud right now. Back in the present, Andreon covers his ears. Just hearing that filth is polluting my brain. Andreon finally lifts his head. After all, he's the descendant of the legendary Bayan. He stares down at Delia, wondering what kind of trashy plotline led them to this state. Right on cue, C hits him with the system alert, Your Highness, we've arrived. Like a true main character, he waits for the door to open, then steps out with that cold, unbothered aura. Perfect timing. He barely takes a few steps when he stops dead in his tracks, zero hesitation. He points right at Adelia. Adelia, we'll finish this conversation later. Just like that, Andreon leaves those 2 NPCs drowning in their own confusion. Meanwhile, Bernardo is already there waiting to glaze him. Your Highness, he bows with exaggerated respect. I hope you've been doing well. Bernardo of the Lee family pays his respects to the first prince, Andreon Leon Beck. Bernardo flashes a fake grin. I can't even describe the joy of seeing you safe. Andreon's internal monologue. This idiot is a descendant of the Lee family? He looks like a straight-up clown. But Andreon is caught off guard. You must have suffered a lot to get this thin, Your Highness. With a shared thought, he lets out a cold, silent scoff. Bernardo looks confused. Is something wrong, Your Highness? Are you feeling unwell? Andreon shuts him down. Nah, I just realized coming here was a W. He pats Bernardo's shoulder. Thanks to you, today's about to get interesting. Andreon walks off, feeling like the absolute chad of the scene. Soon enough, some toxic gossip hits his ears. That girl lifted her dress so high, she clearly doesn't know the meaning of shame. Some random creep adds, her skin is so smooth though, while the girl giggles, oh stop it, I hate you. In this cesspool of a room, only the 2 of them are actually sitting still. Bernardo starts catching feelings of doubt. Usually this scumbag prince would be wasted and rizzing up every girl in sight. He eyes Andreon suspiciously. The guy's aura feels completely different from before. He's definitely mogging his former self. Suddenly, some drunk guy stands up, too buzzed to know he's about to get cooked. I heard he sneers, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Your Highness? That you plucked the flower of the Iron Lion. The rumors are spreading like wildfire, huh? Andreon gives him the coldest side-eye, while the other losers start chiming in. I was too slow, one says. I've had my eyes on that woman for ages. Should sworn her to me first. He lets out a creep-tier laugh. She looked good in armor. Wonder how much better she looks without it. Right then, Andreon asks, hey, do you have any siblings at home? The guy just stands there looking like a total NPC error code. Yeah, he replied with that standard NPC energy. Did you forget? The god has a younger brother, our MC just let out a light Chad tier chuckle. While the dude was still buffering, a fist came flying out of nowhere. Straight up jump scared him. What the hell? Andreon just leveled him with one clean hit. That poor fraud hit the floor like a sack of potatoes, cheeks swollen red, shattering the glass and spilling drinks all over the floor. Every noble in the room turned pale as death. Even Bernardo was frozen in pure shock. Andreon just kept the vibe check going. I'm relieved, really. At least your bloodline won't go extinct today. Then, with zero hesitation, he planted a foot right in the guy's family jewels. A scream echoed through the room that would haunt everyone's nightmares. Andreon didn't even blink. From now on, your little brother is the heir. He wasn't done yet. Andreon wound up his fist again. Another clean shot right to the face. The spectators were absolutely shook, their brains completely offline. As for Bernardo, his shock evolved into sheer unadulterated terror. Andreon grabbed the guy by the collar and hauled him back in. Before he could take another L, the guy gasped, Why? Why would you do this, Your Highness? Andreon leaned in, whispering, Listen closely. Andreon glared, his aura crushing the room. I can tolerate you thinking I'm trash, but I will not tolerate you treating me like I'm trash. The other nobles were spiraling. What is he even talking about? He sighed, looking bored. It means you need to get clapped some more. He sent the guy skidding across the floor. The room went dead silent because everyone was terrified of the MC's menace. When Andreon walked over, the noble was already out cold. He called for someone, and the dude dropped to his knees instantly. Yes, Your Highness. With a smug look that could kill, he joked with Bernardo. Didn't I tell you? Today was going to be interesting. That comment had the poor kid trembling. Why is this absolute madman acting like this out of nowhere? Suddenly, he ordered him to go fetch the royal knights. Bernardo took off like a bullet. As you command, Your Highness. With Bernardo gone, the tension in the room hit an all-time high. Andreon scanned the room, his eyes locking onto a specific spot. He gave the order, cold and sharp, "Ladies, get out of here." Meanwhile, some creep tried to sneak away, thinking he was slick, but he was dead wrong. Andreon caught him instantly, adding a threat that froze the air. "I said the ladies should leave. If you want to leave, feel free, but remember, you're leaving as a woman." They remembered the beatdown from earlier and turned into statues, terrified to move. Seeing everyone finally acting submissive, Andreon started a slow, menacing stroll. His voice was calm, dripping with condescension. "None of you knelt to a prince like you were supposed to, and none of you showed a shred of respect." He reminded them one by one, "You clowns really mocked me right to my face." Without missing a beat, he locked eyes with them and started dragging my knight through the mud. Andreon, being the absolute menace he is, casually asked, "In this case, what kind of sentence are we looking at?" Knight Bernardo hit them with the cold hard facts. "Since they disrespected the royal family, that's straight up treason, bestie." The noble's face went paler than a ghost. He knew he was cooked. Andreon wasn't done, adding that because they challenged royal authority, this was basically high treason. He stood beside Andreon with total Chad energy. "Your Highness, give the command. Which one of these NPCs should we make kneel first?" A dark, predatory smirk curled across Andreon's lips. He was having the time of his life. Without a hint of hesitation, Andreon dropped the hammer. "All of them." After the banquet, the Emperor pulled him aside. "You just ended your grounding and immediately started a whole war, didn't you?" He listed off the carnage. 14 noble brats arrested for treason and lèse-majesté. He really speed-ran every major crime in the book. The Emperor gritted his teeth and barked, "Do you even realize what you've done?" The old man was fuming because even though he wanted them punished, the political backlash from 14 noble families was going to be an absolute nightmare. Andreon, unfazed by the Emperor's energy, asked, "Are you actually worried about the backlash, father?" Andreon explained like he was stating the obvious. These losers were already the black sheep of their families. They were just stains on their bloodlines anyway. He then proposed the ultimate play, just send a letter. The Emperor was confused. A letter? To who? Andreon didn't even bother sugarcoating it. "You know exactly who, father. Who's better at handling the family PR than their own siblings?" A total W move, the siblings of these trash-tier losers, obviously. He looked at the Emperor with a smirk. Was I wrong? The Emperor finally gave in and waved him away, making Andreon feel like the main character. "As you command. See? Nothing more to say, right?" Back home, Andreon tried to act all chill. "Hey, no need to be so tense. I'm not gonna bite." Adelia was shaking like a leaf. "Your Highness, what did this lowly maid do to deserve this?" Seeing her reaction made Andreon cringe. He realized the previous owner of his body must have been a total villain. Andreon recalled the lore. This was a family that barely clawed their way into the nobility. He quickly realized that not even the direct descendants knew the truth about their Bayan heritage. Their legacy of glory had been erased, and their peak combat techniques were lost to time. Andreon couldn't help but feel annoyed. Their lost pride and prestige were basically rotting away. He used his system scan on Adelia, frustrated that all their greatness had vanished without a trace. But the next second, he almost jumped out of his skin. System alert. Berserker's Carnage trait detected? What is this SSS tier insanity? The flashes of her latent unhinged power were terrifying. Yet ironically, she also possessed a fragile heart trait. Andreon was straight up shook. She had god-tier talent but zero control over her own inner demons. He stared at her, thinking, is it even safe to let this monster out into the world? With that thought, he backed off, keeping his distance from the ticking time bomb. Andreon steeled himself. I have to test her. He was already plotting. It's an S-tier talent after all. And hey, I've got just the passive to keep her on a leash. He's activating his Simp Maker skill, a passive that makes anyone under his influence basically obsessed with serving him. Total mind control Riz. He drops the cold command, Adelia Bayan, swear your loyalty to me right now. She's looking like a lost NPC. Oh, your highness, are you feeling okay? Andreon doesn't stutter. He's locked in. He demands she becomes his personal knight on the spot, and she folds instantly, hitting the floor on her knees like a pro. Your highness, a lowly maid like me isn't worthy of such a high-tier role. Then he starts cooking. Your family is basically a bottom-tier faction? Don't worry, I'll sponsor your bloodline. Andreon's aura shifts. It's strictly business now. In exchange, you swear absolute loyalty and serve me as your one and only master. He's reading her like a book. He knows if she can't handle the madness, he's got to be the one holding the leash. Adelia's shaking. You'll really take responsibility for my family? Andreon hits her with the Chad energy. Bet. He levels up the promise. I'll even bring them to the capital so you can see them whenever. She's fully glazed now. I'll do whatever you want. Adelia bows deep, eyes sparkling. Adelia of House Bayan, I pledge my soul to the first Prince Andreon Leon Beck. He's just staring her down, soaking in the loyalty. I will serve you as my master and dedicate my entire life to your cause. She finishes the oath and he reaches out a hand. The contract is sealed. Good. Andreon declares, from now on, you follow my orders without question. She's practically vibrating with excitement. That look in her eyes is straight up terrifying. Even Andreon's low-key sweating. Wait, did I just accidentally create a yandere? Ever since he picked her up, the rumors are going wild. People are saying the first prince has gone full villain mode, forcing knights into shady oaths just to flex. They're saying he's kidnapping noble brats and throwing them into the dungeon just for the lulz. And the biggest insult? He made a maid who's never touched a sword his personal knight. Everyone thinks he's just trying to build a harem. Andreon's face turns into a literal void. Why are y'all so obsessed with my private life? Get a hobby. The guy is just confused. He only took one knight. Why is the whole kingdom acting like he committed a war crime? First, his dear old dad, the emperor, pulls up. I'm out here fixing your mess of a kingdom and you're just busy playing with your new maid? Then the scarred villain shows up to talk trash. Pathetic. So you already gave up on the bet? Even Julian Leon Beck is acting high and mighty, making a maid your knight? That's peak Trash Prince behavior. Andrian's just standing there like, how does news spread faster than a system notification in this place? Suddenly, a maid interrupts. Your Highness, the Empress has arrived. Andrian's soul leaves his body. The Empress enters with that, I'm not mad, just disappointed energy. I thought you were finally acting right. Guess you're back to your degenerate lifestyle? She drops her voice, looking like she's about to drop a bombshell. Actually, maybe this is a good thing. Andrian hits her with the ultimate pivot. Once I'm married and settled down, I'll obviously stop all this chaos. The Empress's eyes light up. She's locked in. Trust your mama. I'm finding you a wife that's actually worth your time. She doesn't even wait for a rebuttal and marches out. Andrian is speechless. The plot just moved without him. A moment later, he summons Adelia. So will I finally get mana now? Andrian flashes a confident grin. Exactly, some top-tier special grade mana, watch this. He summons raw blue magical energy right in the palm of his hand. As he pumps that juice into Adelia, it shifts to gold. The world might have forgotten the Sword Saint meta, but Andrian, he remembers everything. Every step she takes is pure rhythm, sword dancing on her fingertips like she's already the main character. It's like the sword spirit itself is simping for Adelia, wrapping her in a warm, lethal embrace. And, let's be real, she's got that main character energy, her heart pounding with the beat of a true Sword Saint in the making. System notification, mana absorption sequence initialized. Adelia Bayan has successfully awakened her mana senses. Andrian is sweating bullets, heart racing as he watches the screen. System, mana engraving successful. Mana core solidification in progress. Suddenly, her eyes glow with that protagonist aura, a legit mana heart just manifested in her chest, absolute W. Adelia's face is blushing redder than a tomato, looking at him in awe. Is this what mana feels like? Andrian keeps it cool, acting like a total Chad. You just forged a mana heart bestie. Keep grinding that practice when you've got spare time. Man's immediately cooked. He hits the floor like a sack of potatoes, totally drained. Your Highness, Adelia shrieks like she's seen a ghost. Andrian struggles to stay conscious, muttering, damn, I didn't think creating one mana heart would drain my entire battery. He forces himself up, waving off her concern, but she's staring at his back like he's the only person on Earth. She's down bad, asking why he'd go this far for a trash-tier commoner. He's not here for the emotional PDA, so he just brushes her off. Chill, just get out of here. She's still standing there staring, rent-free in her head. Why are you looking at me like that? She drops to one knee with total devotion. I swear my life to you for the rest of my days, my king. Andrian's internal ego is sky-high, giving her the classic, bet just don't forget who the master is. She's got literal stars in her eyes, clasping her hands. Yes, yes, my lord. Andrian turns to leave, but he's low-key feeling a shiver down his spine. I'm genuinely worried she's gonna forget her place, honestly. His expression turns sour, dead serious. Anyway, a few days pass. C walks in looking like an NPC with a quest, all tense.
Your Highness, about air tension.
The royal guards have him locked up as a witness for that disaster. Word is, he's in complete lockdown until the trial hits. Andrian's ears perk up, totally intrigued. A trial. Andrian's face says it all, complete boredom. Please tell me I don't have to show my face there. The guy replies, royals don't need to attend, sir. A massive smirk spreads across Andrian's face. Finally some good news. He's clearly over this whole drama already. Honestly, making a whole court case out of this is just blowing things way out of proportion. He spots Adelia across the room and switches gears. Adelia, how are those gains going? She flinches, caught off guard for a second. I'm sorry, your highness. What do you mean? He leans back, eyes narrowing like a toxic gym bro. Is it stable yet? Adelia gets the hint instantly. Yes, my lord, it's perfect. Andrian stands up, ready to start the real training arc. Good, because from today, you're hitting the gym with me. Go suit up and meet me at the training grounds, pronto. She's looking a bit hesitant, so he hits her with that blunt, cold truth. Drop the cleaning rag. You're a knight now, start acting like one. A little later, Andrian is getting his warm-up in at the arena. Right on cue, a familiar annoying voice echoes through the room. What exactly do you think you're doing? It's Bu Van Hat, looking like a total clown. Andrian's mood is ruined instantly, can't you see? I'm warming up. The old geezer snaps back. Not you, boy. Belle's eyes are locked on Adelia as she sprints for her life. I mean, look at her go. Get the point? Andrian says, acting all chill. Haven't you heard the rumors, old man? I'm training her to be a knight. That set Belle off. Since when is the title of knight such a mid-tier joke to you? Given the situation, how can you be this reckless? Belle is literally boiling, but Andrian's blood is matching that energy. Since when did you become such a yapping NPC? If you hate it so much, why do you keep showing up? Right on cue, Adelia rolls up, gasping for air. Your Highness, she pants, dropping to her knees. 10 laps completed. Belle catches her staring and immediately hits her with the cold shoulder. She looks genuinely worried. Your Highness, I'm so sorry, it's all my fault. Andrian just brushes it off like a total Chad. Forget it, take this. Today, I'm only teaching you the basics of stance. Without even breaking a sweat, he flexes his sword skills in front of Adelia Bayan. First, take this stance and swing it exactly like this. Twin strike, Andrian commands. Give it a try. She struggles to hold the wooden sword, whispering, like this, sir? Suddenly, Adelia's eyes widen, that hidden lethal aura starts leaking out. She executes the strike with insane precision. Her footwork is literally light as a feather. Belle Van Hat is shook to his core, and even Andrian looks like he's caught a massive L in the brain department. How did she mog that move perfectly on the first try? Adelia peeks over, asking nervously, is my form okay? Andrian feels that imposter syndrome creeping in. Wait a sec. If I slack off, she's gonna power creep me in a heartbeat. Her slave mindset trait means she kneels to the strong, not the weak. I've seen how that trash tier prince broke spirit in the past, and it's rent-free in my head. As a canon event of her potentially surpassing him flashes before his eyes, Andrian glares at Belle. The old man is grinning, clearly hyped about her untapped talent. Andrian can't hold back and shoves Belle. The hell you thinking, old man? Andrian is acting like a jealous girlfriend, spitting, don't you dare start glazing her now. Belle's eye twitches. And what could you possibly offer that girl? You're just a fraud who's only been holding a sword for a few months. Belle's aura spikes as he adds, you can't control her. Those words sting like a dagger. Andrian bites his lip, deep in his thoughts. If it were that other trash prince, he'd already be trembling and backing down. But I'm not him. Andrian Leon B's eyes glow with pure, unadulterated menace. If I can't control her, his demonic heart begins to pound against his ribs like a war drum, and his voice drops, cold and absolute. Why? Simple. I've consumed the blood of giant kings, of frenzied dragons, and countless other S-rank entities. The true nature of Andrion, the Gruhon, reveals itself, his eyes shifting into something inhuman. System notification, a fragment of the soul manifests according to the user's will. The ambient mana around him warps. Even Belle can feel the suffocating pressure of a god-tier aura. Andrion stepped up, looming over the old man. She's mine. Back off, stop staring, and curb your thirst, old man. I absolutely hate it when people try to snatch what belongs to me. The old man's face soured, but he didn't say a word as Andrian's eyes flared with a menacing red aura. Andrian let out a long sigh, a strange feeling gnawing at his gut. My grip on reality is fading. I can't feel any life force, any vitality left in this world. Just pure cold and void. Is this the beginning of my end? Andrian was spiraling. He feared his pathetic weak body would be devoured by Gru's soul. But just as his consciousness began to slip, something snapped him back. He stared Gru down man to man. Enough. Once and for all, Andrian was going to domesticate his own primal instincts. Boom, his boot slammed into the ground with pure Chad energy. The old man started preaching, a basic knight saves 10 lives. A top-tier knight can save 100. He pointed at Adelia, who was just standing there, clueless. That brat could save 1,000, maybe even more. Andrian stroked his chin, mocking him. Faith, is that it? Playing the noble general of the North card? Andrian shrugged with zero chill. I don't give a damn, shattering the old man's hopes instantly. Even if she could save the whole world, who cares? Suddenly, Adelia piped up, hitting the old man with a massive reality check. My body and heart belong to his highness. I'm not doing what you say. That statement left the count absolute speechless. Total silence. Andrian stood there, ego through the roof. Worth it, putting my soul on the line. He exploited the higher-tier authority system. She said what she said, old man. And uncle? Don't you have anything left to teach me? I thought this was just about losing weight. If you want to keep coming to my palace, quit meddling in my business. The old man had no choice but to bite his tongue and concede. Understood. Even after that day, the uncle still showed up to the palace daily, acting like a glorified babysitter for Adelia. He couldn't nag or interfere anymore, but honestly, watching this arrogant boomer squirm was pure entertainment for Andrian. Suddenly, Adelia's wooden sword hummed with actual mana, even she looked shook. The old man's brows furrowed, sensing that raw, overwhelming power. His eyes widened in disbelief. Don't tell me she mastered sword resonance already? Andrian clapped, grabbing Adelia's attention. That's my girl. Internally, he was sweating. Damn, she's leveling up so fast she might actually mog me. Adelia beamed, unaware that the old man was trembling in absolute terror. He stepped in, blocking Andrian, and barked, Did you really teach her the heart of mana? Andrian's reply was pure gaslighting. Yeah, so what? You got a problem with that? The old man snapped, losing his cool entirely. Isn't it enough that you're the only one wasting time on that cheap low-tier trick? Andrian's face darkens, his eyes flashing with a lethal warning. He doesn't hold hitting Boo with a cold get lost. But Bu, the ultimate NPC, keeps yapping. I offered you a golden path, unimaginable potential, and you just threw it all in the trash. Andrian walks away without a second glance. The guests are sweating, and Bu, seeing the vibe is dead, realizes he's cooked and leaves. No need for your help. I'll walk my own path. Adelia stands there, catching strays while these two argue over her. She whispers, Your Highness, was everything I learned just some cheap parlor trick? He's annoyed, snapping back, No, absolutely not. Adelia keeps that innocent look, asking, Then why would the Count say that? Andrian dismisses it with pure Chad energy, because these people are too brain-rotted to remember what a real mana heart actually looks like. If they weren't so mid, they wouldn't be tossing it aside like a pair of dusty old shoes. He watches Bu fade into the distance, muttering, You'll realize the true power of a mana heart soon enough. A few days later, at the training ground, a wooden sword is slammed deep into the earth. Andrian just stares at it, arms crossed, keeping his aura silent. He looks up and starts trolling the old man. You're acting like you're never coming back. Bu fires back with a challenge, prove it. I'll use only one mana chain. If you can force me back even half a step, I'll acknowledge you. Andrian Leon Bach grips the hilt with zero fear. What was that bet again? He talks big. Let's make it a wish. Bu's eyes gleam with that tough love intensity. If you win, I'll grant you anything. Even my family's secret arts, I'll teach you everything. Andrian smirks with that signature kick-me expression. That's not what I want. Bu shrugs, and just like that, Andrian launches himself forward. First strike, straight for the throat. It's game time. Bu just scoffs, winking for the neck right out the gate. The The swordplay is as vicious as ever, but Bu just leans back, styling on him while dodging. Andreon is mauling hard, biting his lip, but his follow-up flurry gets completely outplayed. Bu is so bored he decides to spice it up. With a single-handed swing, he forces Andreon to burn 70% of his stamina just to block. Bu starts the trash talk. Is that really all you've got? Andreon's pride is taking a hit. He's getting absolutely mogged. But his first priority is creating space. He needs room to breathe. Seeing the hesitation, Bu lets his guard down. What, are you giving up already? Andreon stands back up, white-knuckling that sword, not even close. He's got to give props where they're due. This uncle is a beast, just waiting for Andreon to show his hand so he can style on him again. With his current mana heart level, he's definitely walking into a canon event of total defeat. Thinking fast, he decides to pivot to psychological warfare. Doesn't this whole situation seem a bit weird to you? Bo's face twisted into a look of pure confusion like an NPC lagging in real time. Then Andreon Leon Beck dropped the lore bomb. 400 years ago, legends with mana hearts were pulling off god-tier feats left and right. But the second a newer, flashier technique hit the meta, suddenly all those legendary arts were treated like absolute mid-tier trash. Everyone's out here glazing the mana chain technique, acting like it's the only way to flex your power. Bu shut that down real quick, demanding to know what his point was, but Andreon just smirked, dropping the truth. It's not the mana heart that's weak, it's the user who's a fraud. And let's be real, not all mana hearts are built the same, King. Andreon's eyes lit up with that main character energy. Uncle ever heard of the War Soul chant? But Bell? This boomer just wanted to see blood, calling it cringe noise instead of focusing on the swordplay. Andreon's smirk widened. I knew you'd say that, Uncle. Since you're the one calling mana hearts a peasant's technique for low-tier mercenaries. Bell snapped, his patience at 0. You talk too much? Need a breather before I end you? Andreon paused for a millisecond, then brushed the salt aside. Don't bother. Andreon's footwork suddenly turned fluid, elegant, and straight-up cracked. The path a knight treads that becomes their legend. My 100 victories are my pride, and they are my absolute power. The aura radiating off Andreon was feeling sus. Even Bu looked shook. System alert. Transformation detected. I'm singing the anthem of my 100 wins before 20 rookies who think they can become knights. Feats etched into the heart. They don't just stay memories, they become the War Soul chant. System notification. War Soul chant has been created. Something that hasn't happened in centuries manifested within his holy blade. Common rank War Soul chant. Combat hymn activated. The accumulation of my small, insignificant wins over the last 6 months. Now, watch the effect trigger. This is the true Chad energy of a mana heart. The War Soul chant notification. Combat hymn effects are live. System notify hymn is now active. Standing there, Bell remained as dense as a mountain, still trapped in his own head. No matter what you do, the result stays the same. He frowned, dismissing Andreon's entire existence. As long as you're rocking a mana heart, you're never touching a mana chain user. Andreon didn't give a single damn, he didn't even blink, lunging forward with his sword. The moment they clashed, Bu actually looked surprised for once. Suddenly, Andreon's heart spasmed. The mana rings were back, trying to trigger a mana backflow. Andreon gritted his teeth, holding on for dear life as Bu started low-key celebrating his inevitable L. Bell kept yapping, trying to gaslight him into giving up. I'll give you points for the durability at least. Even while taking the L, Andreon smiled. But to earn this melody, I've trained over 100 times and tanked the feedback from those rings over 1,000 times. This wasn't just raw talent, it was a build specifically crafted to mog the mana chain users. During those 100 clashes, I survived 1,000 waves of pressure. Mana exploded from Andreon, wrapping his entire body in a glowing, lethal aura. His heart forged in the fires of pure grind. This is the power of the combat hymn. That wooden sword is looking sharper than a mid-tier commoner's insults. Andreon's eyeing him up, probably thinking, finally a fight that's not a complete snooze fest. Boom, Andreon blurs across the screen sheer speed, clashing swords with a shockwave that screams main character energy. Bu hasn't even budged while the old man is putting in all the cardio. The longer they trade blows, the more Andreon is burning through his stamina bar like a reckless whale. The guy's actually panting. Props to our boy for keeping the pace this long. Suddenly, a flicker of movement, something grazes the hilt. Bu stops playing nice and goes for the kill with a raw, brutal swing. Andreon gets sent flying back like a literal NPC, his face looking like he just lost a street fight. The old man tries to act tough. How was that? But Bu cuts him off. Already told you, Gramps. Not all mana hearts are built the same. Bu's aura flares. Oh, he's mogging him hard now. Andreon involuntarily stumbles back, forced to reset and throw out a basic desperate strike. Too weak. The recoil sends Andreon skidding across the dirt like a budget villain. Time's up, old man. You're cooked. I'm done playing with you. Surviving this long was your peak anyway. Bu doesn't even care about the praise. He's just thinking, yeah, common grade battle hymns are total trash. But Andreon isn't done with his villain monologue. 400 years ago, knights made a catastrophic L. They failed to leave any real enemies behind for the next generation. Back then, they had the lore, the drip, and the technique. Peak sword skills, legendary heart training methods, and fire battle hymns, the whole package. But time is a cruel meta shifter, eroding those god-tier feats into forgotten history. Tales of dragons and titan kings? Nowadays, those are just copium-filled myths for casuals. Sure, new hymns popped up, but they're mid. Beating 10 knights? Or 100 soldiers. Please, those are just anti-human ego boosts. None of that trash hits the legendary level, and it's getting washed by the new meta. Andreon's eyes stay dead. Mana chains, with those bargain bin skills, you'll never reach transcendence. Bu is literally done. Are you drunk, old man? I haven't understood a single word of your rambling. In Bu's eyes, the guy's just a fossil, an arrogant, skill-issued clown. Andreon keeps yapping. You kids don't even know what greatness you've lost. As mana spirals into a frenzy, Bu's internal monologue is cold. I'll show you. Mana wraps around Andreon's hand, absolute aura. I'll teach you a technique that no blade can ever parry. Slicing dragon scales and drinking their boiling blood, that's the real endgame content. System notification, True Dragon World ending him initialize. Andreon's heart goes into cardiac arrest. Error. Current stats too low to process this him truncated. System confirms. Executing 1/16 of the original lyrics. His eyes glowed blood red, channeling the raw aura surging through his blade. Dragonscale slasher. Sparks flew as the blades clashed, creating a chaotic light show. The mana-infused blade of View was actually cracking. He's getting mogged in real time. Bu's pupils dilated to the size of pinpricks. He realized if this kept up, he'd be finished. The energy hit its peak, a blinding flash erupting into the sky like a nuclear drop. The sheer shockwave nuked the arena floor, turning the whole stage into a disaster zone. Andreon went flying, followed by a frantic cry from the stands. Your Highness! As the smoke cleared, there stood Bu, still holding his ground. Andreon struggled to his feet, eyes widening as he saw Bu's 4 magic circles pulsing. He couldn't hold back the salt. Didn't you say you'd only use 1 circle, you fraud? Bo Van Hest's face darkened. Andreon thought to himself after using all 4 circles, the guy still couldn't stop his sword from getting snapped. Massive L. On the other side, Andreon stood tall, radiating absolute Chad energy. Mana from the heart is inferior to mana from a ring, the hard truth that just ended his career. Andreon like Count Bu Van Hest. Those 3 words hit Bu like a truck. You lost. Right at the peak of the flex, something started clawing at Andreon's heart, strangling his soul sword Gruhon. Stop, please, just make it stop. Andreon Leon B went ghost white, instinctively clutching his chest before collapsing like an NPC. Back in the present, the residual trauma was still wrecking Andreon in his bed. His hands trembled, clawing into the bedsheets for dear life. He was drenched in sweat. The War Soul song was the price he paid for forcing that dragon scale break. Because the True Dragon World ending song is literally a mythic tier skill, no cap. Once he caught his breath, Andreon clenched his fist with pride. My body's cooked, but the payoff? Absolutely worth it. This is the first War Soul song I ever wove. 100% win rate is my legacy and my ultimate flex. I've survived hundreds of duels and thousands of soul-crushing waves. I'm not folding to anything now. System. Combat song level increased. Thinking about the future, Andreon got hyped. This is enough to clap the third prince's cheeks. Suddenly, Adelia's voice broke the trance. Your Highness. She looked like a Stan meeting her idol. You're finally awake. It's been pure chaos since you passed out. I've never seen the queen that pressed before. Andreon chuckled, total main character energy. Adelia Bain hesitated, mentioning that Count Bandler Hest wanted a notification the second he woke up. Andreon just flopped back down, being a lazy king. Don't tell him yet, I'm taking a nap. Then he used silent judgment to slide into her DMs, to handle things with her. Andreon is currently too busy babysitting his own soul to care about anything else. If he doesn't recover properly after overusing the War Soul song, the backlash is going to be absolute trash tier. If reality and past memories start glitching into a messy crossover episode, the boundary of his sanity is going to collapse, and honestly, that's a major skill issue. If he ends up a straight-up madman, he'll be stuck in an infinite loop of reliving those War Soul memories in a fractured world, total NPC behavior. Just thinking about that ending makes his face twitch. The thought of being trapped in a sword's trauma right after finally grinding his way to becoming a human, that's a nightmare he's trying to avoid. According to the lore dump in Andreon's head, Ednis Bane was a top-tier sword goddess, absolute main character energy. After dropping the info on Adelia, he makes it clear. Since she's the descendant of the Bane bloodline, she's basically got the cheat code to inherit that legendary War Soul song. She's looking shook, clearly not expecting her ancestor to be such a high-level giga-chad. Andreon doesn't even blink, just pouring a drink while keeping his composure. Obviously, she needs to stop being a bottom-tier rookie and level up before she can actually handle that song, so he throws a little bait to see what her build looks like. What do you actually want to do once you master the blade? Adelia looks like she's never even thought about it. She's dodging his gaze like he just asked for her browser history. If I could really become a knight, she mumbles, and Andreon just sighs at how painfully awkward she's acting. If she actually becomes a knight, he really doesn't want to make things harder for Adelia Bayan than they already are. If you haven't decided yet, just stall it, he says, but she's clearly trying to gather the courage to spill her heart out. I will. Andreon freezes, waiting for the rest of Adelia's monologue. She digs deep for that hidden potential and lets it out. My prince, I will become your blade. Now it's Andreon's turn to be blindsided. Memories of his own past life as a literal sword come flooding back, hitting him right in the feels. Some songs of conquest start with a war horn, while others begin with the first footsteps across a lonely battlefield. And then there are the stories that start with a vow carved deep into the soul. Adelia's voice echoes as she drops the ultimate oath. I will live for you, my prince, for the rest of my life. I will offer everything I am to you. System alert. Hidden quest triggered. Adelia Bain has offered the Song of Submission. His mana core starts glowing like a legendary loot drop. Is this actually Adelia's War Soul song? Sometimes these songs hit different and start buffing everyone in the party. A golden light showers over Adelia. A brand new War Soul song is being hard-coded into existence. A Tierce War Soul song, Song of Dominion, has been unlocked. From what he knows, the Song of Submission is a total flex. It's not just a combat buff, it's a soul-binding contract that locks her loyalty to him, no matter how much she tries to act like a loyal vassal. Looking at Adelia, Andreon thinks, no way, the Sword Mother's descendant actually spun up a submission song? I've basically received an S-rank buff I didn't even expect. Andreon checks his current stats and smirks. As long as he's the target of her Song of Submission, her grinding and leveling up is just free XP for him too. He gives her a satisfied smile and adds a quick thanks. Adelia immediately turns red enough to overheat her entire system. My prince. In the dim room, their eyes lock. Even if he isn't sure where this relationship is headed, the vibe is definitely evolving. A few days pass by in a blink. Andreon is standing there with a look on his face that just screams, I have no idea what's going on. Adelia is just standing there, absolutely speechless at the sheer audacity of this man. Suddenly, a voice booms from outside. Yan, how are you feeling, sweetie? Andreon stammers out a response, barely holding it together. I'm fine, he replies, eyes narrowing at Queen Leon Beck. Dealing with haters is easy, it's NPC behavior. But dealing with people who actually love the original owner of this body? That's some high-level emotional baggage he wasn't prepped for. The Queen hits him with the classic guilt trip. Are you still holding a grudge against your uncle? She doesn't even let him answer, doubling down. He didn't mean to hurt you. Just let the bad vibes go, okay? Andreon hits her with that stone-cold apathy. I don't have any negative feelings. But Queen Leon is extra today. What do you mean no? He was toxic and rude 24/7. You're capping. Andreon is just done. No, seriously, I'm fine. He's rubbing his face, looking exhausted, waiting for the Queen to exit the server. Flashback to the day he absolutely wrecked his uncle. I shattered his ego and his entire worldview in one go. Man's probably struggling to cope with the reality check right now. That mental trauma I planted? If he's got the drive, it'll force him to level up and reach new heights. But if he breaks under the pressure, he's basically a bottom-tier fraud. Honestly, I don't give a damn either way. Queen Leon smiles, sounding all nostalgic. Your uncle spent his whole life training his sword, not his social skills, he's just awkward. But lately, he's actually low-key flexing about you. He even went out of his way to convince the Emperor on your behalf. This hits Andreon right in the feels. Wait, so the fact that my grounding ended early was because of him? But the plot thickens. Right after the ban was lifted, Andreon went on a rampage arresting everyone. The Queen sighs. Your uncle's position was probably pretty awkward, you know? Andreon is shook. Wait, is that why he was acting salty? Andreon is deep in thought, chin-stroking, but one question is rent-free in his head right now. Why would a guy like that actually go out of his way for me? Just when the Queen leaves, an old man pops up, Scholar Niccolomachia whatever. The guy's giving off major scammer energy, Your Highness. Andreon immediately puts up the firewall. Hard pass. I'm out. C and Adelia are just watching from the sidelines, and honestly, the absolute Chad energy of Andreon rolling on the floor and throwing a tantrum to avoid homework is peak comedy. Seriously, why do I even need to study? Niccolo hits him with that boomer logic. Without knowledge, what separates a man from a beast? Andreon pops up, triggered. Are you calling me a beast? Niccolo stays calm. You've only just started, Your Highness, so I can't call you a beast just yet. Andreon screams back. I haven't even started. Don't try to outriz me with your wordplay. He flops back down, pouting. Look, I already know everything I need to know. I'm telling you, I don't need any more school, get it? Niccolo keeps up the grind set. If you're that confident, let's make a deal. We'll debate some topics. If you're actually as cracked as you say, I'll never bother you again. A free win? Andreon is 100% in. Bet. The debate starts, and it doesn't take long for Andreon to slam the table, locked in. Exactly. That's why you always gotta watch your back in this game. If you act too soft, people will just try to mog you and take your spot. Niccolo plays along perfectly. You're spitting facts, Your Highness. Seeing his chance, the old man slides over a book. I think you'll find this very enlightening. Andreon speed reads. It frames the king-vassal relationship like a business contract. The king gets military and economic stability, and the vassal gets protection and status. It's just a transaction. This fits Andreon's vibe perfectly. This guy actually has a point. Everything in this world is just a trade anyway. They kept talking until sunset, so this part is accurate, indeed, and this part too? Niccolo packs up his books, grinning like he just pulled off a heist. See you tomorrow, Your Highness. This absolute NPC actually fell for the bait and waved him goodbye like a lost puppy. Sure, I'll be waiting, Andreon says, fully cooked and clueless. Even after the old man leaves, Andreon is still vibing, totally unaware he just got played. Then, the realization hits him like a truck. Wait, did I just sit through a boring-ass lecture for no reason? His face twitches, he just got gassed up and played by a geezer brutal. That old man is a master manipulator. Meanwhile, the geezer is actually thinking, the crown prince isn't the trash rumors made him out to be. Next day, high noon. Andreon is lying in bed looking absolutely done with this mid-tier existence. He's rolling around whining like a bored toddler, so, damn, bored. His heart is restless, probably because he's been touching grass and working too hard lately. His body is still recovering from his main character outbursts, so he's got zero skills to grind right now. Suddenly, a knock at the door. Your Highness, Duke Bew is here to see you. Our boy wakes up, eyes glowing. Finally, some real content. Adelia tilts her head, looking like a total waifu. What should we do? Andreon is so bored he's actually hyped for this. Let him in. He waits for his uncle, knowing the old man is finally here to pay the I almost killed you tax. Andreon puts on his main character aura the moment Boo walks in, but the guy is still clearly traumatized by the mental damage Andreon dealt him last time. Rent-free, baby. The Duke sighs, dropping the act and keeping it real. I'm sorry, I broke my promise and left you half dead. That's an L on my part. I've got zero excuses for my trash behavior. Andreon feels a tiny ping of guilt. Honestly, he wasn't even hurt by the sword chi, he just overcooked his dragon-slaying soul song skill. Remembering the Empress's words, he realizes the Duke is probably in a tight spot too. Bio lowers his voice, ready to pay the price for the prince's recent chaos. Just tell me what you want. You want my arm? Take it. You want my eyes? They're yours. Andreon gives him the coldest stare in the game. Bro, what am I gonna do with your mid-tier limbs? Trash. Andreon's in a dilemma. A legendary sword saint, nerfed by his own mental trauma? That's just sad. After 5 seconds of thinking, he makes his move. Fine, I'll be generous. Here's my wish. Uncle, I want to go on a trip. The Duke looks shook. The house arrest is over. You can literally go outside whenever you want? Andreon waves it off. Nah, not a field trip to the mall. I'm talking a real journey, way outside the capital. This request leaves the Duke looking like a frozen statue. He takes a minute to reboot. It'll take time to arrange. The upcoming banquet makes a long trip impossible. Andreon brushes it off. Whatever, just get it done. Bet. I'll hit you up when the schedule is set. Andreon dismisses him like a side character. Yeah, see ya. Adelia watches from the sidelines as the Duke retreats in defeat. She's staring at him with that sus look, so Andreon calls her out. What? She hesitates, scratching her cheek with that cute sorry not sorry energy. It's just, I really thought your highness was going to ask for something way more unhinged. Since the Count broke his word, this was the ultimate opportunity to profit. And honestly, getting caught would just be a skill issue, but he wasn't about to snitch on himself. He could only mutter one thing. Watching that stubborn old fossil act like a total NPC is just straight up pathetic. Before the goosebumps even faded, he heard C's smug chuckle. What's so funny, C? You've been looking way too relaxed lately. Don't think I don't see that aura. Right on cue, Adelia makes her grand entrance. Your Highness, she says, holding a letter. The correspondence you've been waiting for has arrived. It's got a special seal on it, too. The letter was short, but it hit different. I've recently achieved a little something, Your Highness. I might just drop by to see you soon. Hope you're still in one piece until then. Sincerely, Owen Kagan. Reading the final lines, Andreon cracked a smile. The intel dropped at the perfect time. Fast forward 5 days, his uncle sends word of a win. 2 days later, they're out the gates, the grind begins. Andreon is acting like a 5-year-old, hanging out the window. Hey uncle, what's the name of the territory we're hitting up again? Ellen just pinches the bridge of his nose, absolutely done. Can you seriously not sit still for 5 seconds? But seeing the MC's hype levels, he sighs, fine, just get back inside and I'll explain everything. Listen up, the story starts way back. Count Leon Beck, the realm's biggest weapon forge. They've got high-tier iron mines and a guild of master blacksmiths crafting god-tier gear. It's not even a flex to say they supply over half the royal armory. Andreon's eyes lit up like he just pulled an SSS tier gotcha. Perfect. His brain was already speedrunning the possibilities. My stats have been popping off lately. It's finally time I got a sword worthy of my drip. At first, I thought I'd just swipe some mid-tier loot from the royal vault, but C shut that down fast. Sorry, Your Highness, that's a direct order from the Emperor. Don't even think about touching a blade or you'll be cooked. Andreon shivered, remembering how the original owner of this body was a total fraud who got skewered by Gruhon. The more he thought, the more he felt like a clown. Given the original's track record of being a menace, that restriction made sense. But if I want a weapon that doesn't suck, I'm gonna have to go off-grid. Andreon froze, side-eyeing Ellen with a sudden realization. Damn, he's actually low-key thoughtful for someone who looks like a total stiff. Ellen barked, too loud, shut the window. Andreon fired back, like hell I will. And just like that, the 20-day journey started with a bang. Stuck in the carriage, Andreon decided to stabilize his mana. Time to top off the reserves, boys. The carriage was shaking, the wind was hitting different, and the nights outside were making way too much noise. He started pulling in the hidden mana particles from the air. If I can fill this empty mana heart to the brim, the mana flowed into him, rhythmic and steady, syncing with his core. Suddenly, Andreon felt a weird ripple in the force. Wait, what? Since when is my mana heart this massive? System notification. You have achieved a miraculous feat beyond your level and glimpsed a fragment of absolute power. He read the line and instantly knew this was the side effect of force casting the true Dragon World-ending chant. A glow erupted from his chest. Effort has manifested into physical growth. Your mana heart has expanded. Thanks to the expansion, your physique has leveled up. You can now hold significantly more mana. Furthermore, you have reached the realm of Swordmaster. Connection to the source has been slightly upgraded. System update power restrictions lifted. Clairvoyance upgraded to SSS tier. System update superhearing upgraded to SSS tier. Adelia's just watching him like, is this man actually tweaking? Imagine being a gorgeous waifu and your prince is just standing there doing side quests in his head. Combat test complete. Andreon grips never stops. We're one step closer to the throne, boys. The squad finally pulls up to the first checkpoint. The moment Andreon steps out, the locals are already glazing him. We aren't worthy of your presence, Your Highness. 2 NPCs bowing like their lives depend on it. I am Iga of the Allen House, and this is Torrance the Heir. We welcome you, Great Prince. Andreon keeps it cool, appreciate the hospitality. Iga smirks. You must be tired from the road. Let me show you to your chambers. Andreon isn't even listening. He's scanning the area with that main character aura, calculating the L's and W's of this place. They call this a weapon hub? These swords are mid at best, pure trash tier equipment that would break in any real fight. Still walking with Iga, but Andreon's eyes are locked on the loot tables. Andrian's face says it all. If this is the best they've got, I'm cooked. This place is a total waste of time. He stops playing nice and goes for the throat. You said the Blacksmith's Guild was in this territory, right? The old man stammers. Why yes, your highness. Andrian doesn't hesitate. Take me there now. A few steps later, the pace starts getting frantic. Iga's trying to manage expectations. These smiths are absolute savages, your highness. Extremely stubborn. They don't even respect the lord of the land when they're in the zone. Their tongues are sharper than the cold steel they forge. So if they say something disrespectful, please, just call it artistic temperament and let it slide. Andrian isn't hearing a word. His eyes are glued to the forge, the fire, the rhythm, the vibe is immaculate. Entering the workshop, Iga plays the host. It's blazing in here, your highness. Just say the word if you need to dip. Andrian still shook. That rhythmic clink-clink of the hammers hitting metal, that's the sound of a master at work. Iga is confused as hell watching Andrian creep closer to the furnace. The prince walks right into the heat of the forge. The flames are dancing, the bellows are pumping. This is where the real grind happens. The heat is insane. He's dripping sweat like a gym rat on a PR set. But then he hears it. A sound so pure, so crisp, it's mogging everything else in the room. Andrian stops dead in his tracks in front of one specific smith. This old legend is still hammering away with more stamina than a protagonist on a buff streak. Andrian's eyes lock onto the blade. Everything else just fades to black. Gruhon's silhouette flashes in his mind. This is it, the memory I've been hunting for. Suddenly, someone steps in to wipe the sweat off his face. He turns and it's Adelia Bayan. Your highness, you're sweating way too much. Absolute mommy energy, I'm obsessed. Andrian snaps back to reality and brushes her off. Sorry, queen, he's got no time for distractions right now. He ignores the flirt and keeps his eyes on the master smith, who is now gathering the other NPCs to pay their respects. We, these lowly peasants, offer our deepest bows to the great prince. Iga keeps yapping, introducing some NPC named Jackson, the manager of the smithy, but Andrian couldn't care less, whatever he thinks. But Andrian is hyper-focused on the old head smithing away. Thinking he's being ignored, Jackson loses his mind. Who the hell do you think you are? Stop what you're doing and bow to his highness. Big mistake. Andrian is officially triggered. You're way too loud, old man. His eyes are screaming, I'm about to end this man's whole career. The rest of the blacksmiths are silent, scared to even breathe. The blade is glowing red-hot, smoke filling the room. Andrian scans the room, realizing these guys were forced to stop their grind just for him. He checks them. I never gave the order to stop, and your steel is going to cool off. Unless you want the furnace fires to die out, get back to work or get lost. As soon as he drops the line, the smiths scramble like headless chickens. You heard him. Grab your tools, pump the bellows, move. They scatter, leaving Andrian standing there like a total Chad, just observing. Time seems to freeze, the atmosphere becoming thick enough to cut. But the old man? He doesn't even flinch, never stopping his rhythm. Every strike of the hammer is perfectly timed, not a single L to be found. Andrian doesn't want to interrupt the flow, just absorbing the craft. The reflection of the blazing steel is burned into Andrian's pupils. It feels like the entire world is just fire, pure, unadulterated flame. The blade glows with an insane aura, and Andrian is completely locked in, focused only on the master at work. As the sweat drips and the breathing gets heavy, Andrian wonders, what is this feeling? What am I witnessing? The factory tour wraps up and Iga walks Andrian out. He spills the tea. For the last 6 months, the old man has been forging masterpieces just to melt them down immediately. Andrian is intrigued. Are they all defected gear? Iga shakes his head, looking straight up depressed. It's complicated. Iga starts the lore dump. Every blade the guy makes is a literal masterpiece. That's why he's the master of blades. Even the ones he made for me were SSS tier. Why he keeps melting his own progress is the biggest mystery of the century. The more Iga talks, the more his confusion and regret show. Apparently the guy hasn't even slept in a month, just grinding 24/7. He's getting old, so we're honestly worried he's gonna stroke out. Andrian doesn't say a word, just walks back to the manor. A true artist at work, respect. Days turn into weeks. His Highness shows up at the forge at dawn and doesn't leave until the moon is out. During all that time, the old man stays in his own world, and Andrian just watches from the shadows, learning the craft. Contrary to the rumors that the crown prince would cause a scene, the forge stayed quiet. No drama, no issues, just vibes. One night, under the crescent moon, Andrian heads to the forge like it's his canon event. Finally, the day arrives for his Highness to head out. He opens his mouth to say something, then just closes it. Plot twist, he's actually speechless. And the old man still doesn't give a damn about his status. What an absolute legend. Andrian sighed, clearly hitting his limit. I really hoped to see it finished before I had to dip. Iga was straight up speechless at the MC's lingering attachment. He thought to himself, the prince is seriously bummed out. Andrian turned on his heel and shouted, let's bounce. Heard there's a farewell party tonight and we're heading out at dawn. Iga watched his back fade away thinking, maybe that's why he wanted the prince to see the mastersmith's masterpiece for even a split second. The next day, right as the sun hit its peak, Prince Andrion showed up looking like a total clown. From a distance, Iga sprinted like he was running from a debt collector to drop the news. The mastersmith had finally cooked. Hearing that, Andrion turned into a speedster, sprinting faster than a meta user. Right in front of him was the old goat, clutching the blade of the century. The old man was polishing it with zero distractions. Finally, the thing was shimmering under the sun like a SSS teardrop. Without a word, the man kneeled at Andrion's feet and offered the blade. The blade reflected Andrion's eyes as he whispered, I present this sword to you. The mastersmith hit him with a slow, dramatic exposition. Even Andrion didn't see this plot twist coming. Forged like the sunrise on the horizon, cooled until the color matches the king's own throne. Do this, and a sword like the sun and a true king shall be born, the blacksmith's chant kid. Andreon gripped the sword, eyes shining, and asked, does it have a name? The smith bowed with max respect. How about Twilight? Andreon pressed him, feeling curious. Is that the twilight of dawn or the twilight of dusk? The old goat replied calmly. To me it's the end of an era, but for your highness, it's the dawn of a new one. Andreon actually let out a laugh. You've got a silver tongue, old man. But then the smith's voice dropped and he let out a long, heavy exhale. After saying that, the old man collapsed, looking straight up relieved. Wait, was he just running on fumes this whole time? He's already passed out? Iga whispered nearby, your highness, but Andreon caught the falling smith and signaled, tell my uncle I'm crashing here tonight. That night, the torchlight flickered while Andre sat alone, watching over the guy. The smith stirred, muttering, the moment you stood behind me that day, the sword took shape like it was destiny. The blade decided when it wanted to be born, Andreon said, arms crossed, a smirk playing on his lips. Is that really what you think? Andreon's face went cold, like he was dropping a massive lore bomb. Then he leaned in to whisper in the old man's ear. The smith jumped like he'd just seen a ghost. 3 seconds later, the old man screamed, no way, then you are. Andreon gave a silent nod. Exactly, so how could I not understand what's going on inside your head? Once the gears clicked into place, the man on the bed started laughing like a maniac. He spoke with absolute satisfaction. I see now. I finally get it. Your highness, please, let me hold that sword one last time. Andreon didn't hesitate, handing over the hilt. Here you go. The old man's trembling hands took the blade, sweat pouring down his face like a waterfall. Pray that this blade becomes as legendary as the man who forged it. Andreon felt that. He felt that right in the feels. He grabbed the old man's hand, locked in a firm grip. The vibe was set, and yeah, we all knew where this was going. The old smith had clearly reached the final boss stage of his life, burning his last spark to craft a masterpiece. That night, Andreon made a silent vow. By tomorrow, a new box would be delivered. Iga showed up, simping hard. I can't just value a soul-forged blade with money, but it's too heavy for a prince to wield. Please take this magic sword instead. Andreon accepted it with that fake charitable smile. Not bad, he thought. Not S-tier, but mid-tier gear is better than nothing. Seeing the prince actually take it, Iga got brave. Your highness, what about the old sword? Andreon sheathed the new blade and clapped back. Just having a master smith pour his heart into a sword is a massive gift already. And now you're throwing in a magic one too? Massive W for the family's loyalty. They really know how to play the game. The guy was shook, completely mogged by the prince's logic, and could only bow in defeat. Meanwhile, Iga is having a mental breakdown. I tried to use the magic sword as bait to scam the master's blade back, but now I'm just down a sword for nothing. Fast forward to a random forest. You barked orders to the squad. Carriages and infantry lag behind. Cavalry push forward at max speed. We're behind schedule. Move it. The soldiers shouted back in unison. Sir, Andreon called out, watching him work. You seem pretty busy, huh? Wait a sec, he realized. I haven't seen this guy since we hit the territory. Bu held his head high. His majesty gave me a secret mission. Andreon stroked his chin, going into full mastermind mode. Guess this trip wasn't just for charity, was it? Bu ignored the bait and dropped the bomb. Anyway, gear up. We need to hit Iron Lion City by tonight, so get on a horse. Andreon hit a reality check. About that, I can't ride. The old man looked like he'd just seen an NPC do a backflip. Bu stared him down. I used to be a literal sword. How would I know how to ride a horse? Andreon had no choice but to bite the bullet. The road to Iron Lion City was obviously going to be full of unexpected incidents, and honestly, bro's face turned whiter than a ghost. It wasn't the half-day trip he planned, but hey, we arrived in one piece after a full day of suffering. Standing before the city gates, he sighed, so this is the Iron Lion City, huh? The synchronized stomping of the guards echoed through the area. The leader stepped forward, keeping his aura respectful. From the Woden family, we welcome the great prince. The Iron Lions salute the noble blood of Leon Beck. The red carpet treatment gave him the creeps. The intensity was way too extra. Andreon glanced at his entourage.
The reason for the excessive welcome?
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. He got a spicy idea. Why not stir the pot a little? Someone approached from the distance. She read the vibe immediately. Your highness. She knelt at his feet, reporting in. I've been counting the days just to see you again. The moment she said it, a dozen pairs of eyes locked onto him with pure malice. Oof, instant aggro. Suddenly, Andrean Leon Beck felt a chill run down his spine. He snapped his head around and caught Adelia Bayan staring. She's radiating pure hostility. Her master's ego is gonna trigger her, he whispered, Adelia. She snapped out of it in an instant, returning to her usual cold-as-ice self. She bows her head in pure submission as you wish, your highness. Andrean sighs in relief, thinking, thank God I broke her spirit early. The grind set never stops. Not wasting a single second, Andrean pivots to Awen with a look of pure menace. Now I'm calling the shots. Awen, you're coming with me. He's basically trolling at this point, adding, it would be better if your little fan club follows us too. We've got plenty to discuss. A month of training arc later, Andrean strips off his outer coat, steps onto the training grounds, and stares down Owen's entire harem of simps. He goes full Chad mode. I want to see the legendary swordsmanship everyone keeps hyping up. Who's going to step up and show me why you're supposedly the best in the kingdom? Every eye in the room snaps toward one guy, and Andrean follows their gaze, smirking. When they stand there like NPCs, Andrean keeps the pressure on. If my status is making you soft, don't sweat it. I, Leon B, guarantee zero consequences for whatever happens in this spar. Still not. Are you all really this pathetic? Knowing they're too scared, he switches to toxic trash talk. I expected the best, not a bunch of cowards. Guess that strongest in the kingdom title is just mid-tier marketing. That triggered him. The orange-haired kid steps up, sword drawn. I am Dio of the Danon House. He declares with main character energy, I'm probably not good enough to represent the Iron Lions, but if you allow it, I'll take the challenge. Andreon waves him off with a predatory grin, no need for permission. I'm the one who asked for this beatdown. Dio doesn't wait. He lunges forward, screaming, watch yourself. Andreon locks eyes with him, his aura turning razor sharp. Their blades clash, sparks of blue mana flying everywhere, and with one single contact, Dio is already coughing up blood. One hit. That's all it took to send him skidding across the dirt like an absolute scrub. Andreon's mana heart is on fire. He just nukes the next challenger, forcing the rest of the fodder to back up in fear. Another guy tries to student. Dio was just a freshman, so don't get cocky. He couldn't even finish his monologue before he got absolutely rocked. Next up is some expert swordsman with 5 years of training, trying to act tough. Then Judith, an 8-year veteran, yelling the Iron Lions never lose. Nope, only the sound of bodies hitting the floor echoes across the arena. 15 minutes later, the entire Iron Lion squad is wiped out, and Andreon just looks bored. Seriously? I came here looking for real knights, not these slow-motion NPCs. You guys move like you're playing on 500 ping. Andreon calls Awen out. She steps forward. Yes, your highness? He smirks, winking at her. When I leave, you're coming with me. Awen freezes for a second, caught off guard. She bows low as you wish, your highness. Suddenly, a guy in the shadows speaks up with a dark aura. Your highness smirks. The plot is going exactly as planned. The guy steps forward. I heard you love a good gamble. Why don't we spice things up with a little bet? If I manage to defeat you, he doesn't even get to finish his cringe monologue before Andreon shuts him down instantly. Awen is touched, because she knows she's not just some participation trophy for a tournament. Your highness. Andreon drops that wooden sword like a total Chad and proposes a high-stakes pivot. How about we bet something else? Bring the sword here. He grabs the blade and says, if you win, this sword is yours, right here, right now. Awen is genuinely shook. She didn't expect him to be this much of a high roller. The guy opposite him looks like he just saw a ghost. Awen tries to rush in to stop Andreon Leon Beck, stuttering, Your Highness, I should be the one. But he shuts her down, radiating absolute main character energy. You are worth 100, 1,000 times more than any sword. And he means it in his head. The value of a true master swordsman isn't something you can just measure against a hunk of cold steel. The guy gets hyped, nodding like a fanboy. Very well, Your Highness. He draws his blade, flexing his credentials, Dunham of the Fahrenheit family, a knight of the Iron Lion Order, and I'm just one step away from achieving the threefold realm. Andreon drops the ultimate roast without blinking. Wait, so you're still just a twofold mid-tier? The guy's face turns redder than a tomato. He's absolutely cooked. Ignoring the L he just took, Dunham raises his sword. This blade is the 17th masterpiece forged by the legendary Mastersmith. If you lose, this sword belongs to you, Your Highness. Andreon hears the name and just smirks. What a coincidence. Andreon pulls out the sword the old man gave him, ready to drop a lore bomb. I happen to have a sword from that exact same master. He emphasizes every word. This is his 100th masterpiece. Dunham is sweating now. That's impossible. There are no rumors of a 100th sword. Andreon continues the mogging. I guess not. It was his final work, finished just a few days ago. The knight is officially tilted. Fine, Dunham spits out. Even if your highness is walking a misguided path, I can at least respect the grind you've put into it. The cringe is real, but Andreon finds it amusing. A misguided path? Then, out of respect for your effort, I'll go all out in this duel. His mana heart ignites, proving once again that his power level is just built different. This position was never something I considered mine in the first place. The respect I receive is simply a reflection of the people I've gathered. There's only one way to describe it. As long as it comes from my people, that's enough for me. Adelia, watch closely. She's caught off guard, huh? As an insane, never-before-seen surge of mana erupts from him. Andreon Leon Beck locks eyes with her. This is the path you must walk from this moment forward. Adelia nods, completely entranced. Just like that, the connection between them is sealed in a split second. Adelia says with zero hesitation, I will follow you. Back in the room, the tea steam is rising and the vibe is heavy. Bu asks, sitting across from him, how many times have we visited the Iron Lion stronghold now? Yo crosses his legs and replies, this is the 4th time. He strokes his chin, lost in deep thought. According to Bu's intel, the 4th prince doesn't care about the throne, so he's a non-factor. The 3rd and 5th princes have already snooped around, and the 1st prince is under house arrest. Even the 2nd prince just left the area not too long ago. Yo sets his teacup down. No matter how bad his reputation gets, you can't deny the 1st prince is the only legitimate heir to this kingdom. He points an accusing finger at Bu. The fact that things have reached this point, that's entirely on you. If the commander of the 3rd Legion had supported the 1st prince even a little, he wouldn't be this isolated right now. Bu hangs his head, taking the L. So why are you acting like his guardian only now? Bu doesn't even deny it. You're right. I really did abandon my own nephew. Not only a total fraud of a monarch, but a full-blown tyrant. That's the legacy of my own grandson. One day, after I roasted him for being wasted on some trash-tier poison, Andreon had the audacity to bark back, Are you losing your mind, uncle? His face was beet red, radiating pure I'm a brat with main character syndrome energy. Unable to suppress his pathetic rage, he actually tried to swing a sword at his own uncle. The disrespect is absolutely wild. At that moment, Bo had only one thought. This kid is a bottom-tier loser, so I headed back north in pure disappointment. Then he sent me poisoned wine and had the nerve to call it a gift. Bo didn't even blink, he just grabbed the bottle, ready to end it all. He was ready to drink the whole thing, but when I used my mana to vaporize that budget bin poison, I also burned away the last shred of my family affection for this NPC. However, the loser I thought would never change is currently pulling a massive glow up. He's been tanking these brutal training sessions and is honestly getting built different by the day. Back to the present, Yu is still yapping, questioning me. Didn't you say the first prince was never meant to be king? Bell looks into his teacup, catching Andrian's reflection. This isn't the same soft-bodied NPC as before, he's a total unit now. With that realization, he decided to humble himself just this once. Give him a chance, at least let him stand on the same starting line as the other princes. Not only that, but Bo actually bowed his head to Yu, a man nearing 70 who has never knelt for anyone, making the whole vibe absolutely surreal. I literally cannot comprehend this development. I don't know if it's you or the first prince who's changed more, but get up. This isn't like you. The man known as the Silver Knight couldn't even finish his sentence before a soldier kicked the door in. Lord Woden! The two of them shared a look of pure confusion. The first prince is doing what now? Yu and Bo headed to the training grounds, trying to keep their cool. Don't sweat it, Dunham knows when to quit, nothing crazy is gonna happen. The whole way there, he's playing damage control. Even in a real duel, he wouldn't beat a royal into a coma, right? Bo cut him off with a dead serious tone. The person you should be worried about isn't the prince, it's his opponent. He looked at him like he was losing his marbles. You're acting sus, your face is pale, and you're saying absolute nonsense. Before he could finish, a familiar body went flying and slammed right at their feet. Yo took one look at the guy on the ground and his brain short-circuited. It's Dunham, the whole training ground is in shambles. Dunham got Mog, and the prince actually won? You stood there in total silence, absolute brain rot setting in. What is even happening? Bo just smirked with a mix of awkwardness and pride. I told you, didn't I? Andrian wiped the dried blood off his lip like a total Chad. In his eyes, Andrion is a completely different beast, not the one we need to pity. Next, the legends say a true knight isn't forged until they've tasted defeat. That's exactly why Andrian went all out on Dunham. During the heat of the battle, Andrian Leon Beck leveled up his own existence. Those weren't just empty words, he's actually walking the walk. He realized one thing, my current combat songs aren't enough, but I can't just drop a world-ending dragon chant on a basic tier knight. Hyperfocus talent activated. Andrian's mana heart started thumping like a bass cannon in his chest. Every movement blurred into a perfect sequence, the world went dead silent, and it felt like his body wasn't even his own anymore. Andrian's eyes ignite with blue flames, the absolute peak of main character aura. It's like deja vu, he predicts Dunham's every move before the sword even leaves the scabbard. Sparks are literally flying, making the battlefield look like a low-budget light show. Result, Dunham gets sent flying to the chicken coop like a total NPC. He's exhausted, but his vibe is different, he's locked in. Another one bites the dust, and Andrian is still smirking, delivering crisp, clean slashes that just scream main character energy. Andrian isn't here to play, he's speed-running these losers into the dirt. Time is ticking, but his stamina bar isn't dropping, the man is literally built different. He's not just fighting, he's grinding XP and leveling up his technique in real time. They're dropping like flies, one after another. Total skill issue on their end. Andrian is cooking them all, and the longer the fight goes, the more unhinged his dominance becomes. Sweat is dripping like he's running a marathon, turning the grass into a slip and slide. Andrian just 1v9 the entire Lion squad until sunset absolute Chad behavior. He's gasping for air, lung screaming, but the drip remains immaculate. The soldiers are actually cheering. Yeah, Pawn got clapped, and that's 5 consecutive W's for the prince. Suffer through 1,000 storms, and you'll stand unshaken when the tsunami hits. System notification, combat chant leveled up. Finally, the sword in his hand feels like a true extension of his soul. System notification, combat chant has evolved to duelist hymn. We're hitting SSS tier power scaling now, baby. His mana heart finally stops acting up. We're in the clear. Andrian's battery is at 1%, he can barely stand. As his body hits the floor, a pair of hands catch him. You good, king? A soldier kneels before him, grinning. We bow to your absolute undeniable victory. Then the whole squad joins in. We salute your blade, we salute your grit, we bow to the champ. Andrian is caught off guard. Bro, didn't you guys want to jump me 5 minutes ago? Talk about a 180. Yu steps in to spill the tea. These guys are simple-minded brutes. If you have a sharp sword and win, they'll worship you. It's just how they're wired. You look confused, Prince. You thought you were gonna get hated on, right? Belle walks up with that mommy energy, looking proud as hell. A fair loss beats a dirty win every day. Who cares about the outcome when the fight was this peak? The red-haired guy, Dunham, is salty but respectful, handing over his prized blade. Dude really got humbled after acting so arrogant earlier. Andrian laughs at his own reflection, realizing he hasn't lost his touch. Even after losing his mana heart, that warrior spirit stayed rent-free in his head. He's finally feeling that high again, the respect of the strong, the honor of the duel. Time for the prince to head back to the crib. But this time our MC's lingering a bit. Catch you on the flip side then. Yu places a hand over her heart, bowing low. I pray for your health until we meet again. And he hits back with that smooth, polite energy. You two take care of yourself. The Count. Barely 3 seconds after turning away, Andrian Leon Beck pulls a wait. One more thing. Right, Count Woden, please keep everything that went down here strictly under wraps. The old man tilts his head, confused as an NPC. Wouldn't it be more of a W for your highness if you went public with it? Andreon strokes his chin, looking like he's plotting something devious. He's thinking about his little bro back home. Time to do a little trolling. After leaving Woden, the caravan finds a spot to crash. We're setting up camp here for the night. Awen tells Andreon he's heading out to scout the perimeter. Andreon gives the nod, go for it. Meanwhile, Awen's still glaring at him from behind. He glances back, seeing her looking totally lost, and just thinks she'll adapt. Canon event in the making. With a long, lazy yawn, Andreon Beck heads into his tent. Time to catch some Z's. Not expecting Adelia to be waiting inside like a loyal waifu. Your Highness, you've returned. He's speechless at her behavior. The girl I scouted is supposed to be an S-tier sword prodigy, yet she's out here acting like a maid. Absolute waste of talent. Adelia looks clueless while he's there sighing like he's playing a doomed save file. Your Highness, is there something not to your liking? Andreon flops onto his bed, zero effort. Nah, forget it. You can bounce. She answers with a submissive, as you wish, Your Highness. Once Adelia Bayan leaves, he's deep in thought. These lion knights, they're built different than I thought. When I use my judgment power, I can see most of these fodder knights don't even have sword talent past rank F. Back in the day, these guys could train till they dropped and still wouldn't hit the mid-tier swordmaster level. These NPCs should have been stuck in mediocrity forever. Yet, here they are, hitting swordmaster level while barely being in their 20s or 30s. The baseline for elite talent has plummeted, but the average Joe's potential is actually scaling up. Connecting the dots, Andreon bolts upright. It's all thanks to that Sigma mana. My uncle was a total beast who should hit the peak back then. That's why I was so annoyed he just gave up on that potential. Still, this era's mid. Zero opportunities to reach those god-tier, transcendent achievements. At the end of the day, it's just the flow of time. Gotta respect the grind. I don't really get this era yet, so I'm starting from level 1. Suddenly, someone eavesdropping chimes in. That's a top-tier mindset right there. Bu starts clapping like a fanboy, ignoring whether he actually gets Andreon's internal monologue. It's not too late. If you sweat for it now, you can achieve your dream. Andreon's just thinking, bro, what dream? I'm just vibing. The old man ignores his confusion and gets straight to the point. Didn't you already mog the hearts of the Lion Knights? Any other prince would flopped trying to fit in like that. I don't know what's going on in Bo Van Hat's head, but his eyes are sparkling like he's using a beauty filter. That was a high IQ play. Yeah, Andreon is completely lost. What? Is this uncle okay? He's confused by Bu's poetic glazing. Has my uncle finally lost his marbles? The old man grips his hand and asks, do you not remember the terms of the bet I placed on you? Andreon starts listing the bets. If it's about clapping the third prince, that's still on the table. He gets cut off mid-sentence. No, the bet was about defeating a 2-foot knight. Andreon points at himself, shocked. Wait, so I already cleared that quest? Bu steps closer, giving off main character energy. I'm going to hold up my end of the bargain exactly as promised. Andreon is still completely lost, trying to process what the hell his uncle just dumped on him. Suddenly, Duke Bu pulls a Gigachad move, puffing out his chest and declaring himself the Duke of the Kingdom and commander of the 3rd Legion. He's like, I'm officially backing the first prince, Andreon Leon B, and our boy Andreon is mentally screaming, what is this old man smoking? His brain is trying to lag render the sheer audacity of this move. Don't tell me this is actually happening. Bu flashes a smile brighter than a nuclear blast, dropping a massive trust me bro energy. Andreon's internal monologue is basically a screeching siren. When the hell did I ever say I wanted to be king? The day after, that declaration hits the castle like a fucking meteor. The air is thick with NPCs kissing his ass. Your Highness, congratulations. We offer our sincere congratulations. Truly, this is the glory of the kingdom. The royal knights and fresh soldiers are swarming the place, creating a chaotic mess with the new servants and maids sent from the palace. And here I am, the main character caught in the eye of this absolute shitstorm. Andreon points out the window, completely triggered. This is pure chaos. Get them all out of my sight right now. His aide stays calm, hitting him with that it's a canon event energy. Your Highness, even if you order them to leave, they ain't listening to you. Andreon is fuming, barely able to form words, then at least get them out of my sight. This is driving me insane. As requested, the windows get slammed shut. Finally, some peace and quiet for Andreon's ears, or so he thought. Just as he starts to vibe for 3 seconds, the door gets kicked in with zero respect. Big brother, you in there? Andreon looks at the kid standing there, exhausted. Why the hell are you here at this hour? It's the 3rd prince, Julian Leon Beck. You've been acting pretty well, haven't you? Secretly learning swordplay from Duke Bandler and even revealing such grand ambitions. Andreon doesn't even care, deadpan, learning what from who. Julian is fuming at the blatant act of feigned ignorance. I was actually trying to save your face, so why are you acting like this? I was gonna let you lose without looking like a total fraud. Andreon props his chin up, looking at him like a brat. Amazing. I'm so moved I could cry. Julian goes dark, pointing his finger right at him. Brother, you've made a huge mistake. I'm gonna make you pay dearly for playing me like that. This guy, and that guy too. I told you, I have zero interest in that mid-throne. I need to find the mastermind behind all this drama. The mastermind is already standing right there, and Andreon hits him with the truth. Look, uncle, we can collaborate for a bit, but please back off when the time is right. I don't give a damn about the throne. Uncle Bu grits his teeth. Why are you starting all this without consulting me first? Bu just smirks like he's playing 4D chess. Are you worried about House Bandler? House Bandler is the literal shield protecting the kingdom from the monsters in the northern mountains. He hits him with a cold-blooded reality check. As long as the royals and nobles don't forget the harshness of winter, nothing bad will happen to the Bandler family. Andreon looks annoyed but keeps listening. If that's true, then I can breathe easy. But the next line hits like a truck. It's only a matter of time. It's gonna happen eventually. You really don't know the fate of a first prince who can't take the throne, do you? The situation won't change just because you keep dodging it. If you need time to cope with reality, I'll give you as much as you want. But remember this. The legitimacy of the first prince doesn't expire until you're literally dead. Andreon is still muttering to himself even after Bu leaves. I already told you, no matter how much time you give me, I'm not changing my mind. What I actually need to recover is the power and authority that reached the transcendent realm, so there's no way I'd ever want something as basic and mid as a royal inheritance. I definitely used to think that way. At the royal hall, it looks like a full-blown banquet is going down. The voice of the herald echoes through the room. The legitimate blood of the Leon Beck kingdom, the first prince of the Leon Beck royal family. The crowd goes feral as Prince Andreon Leon Beck makes his grand entrance. Surrounding him are sharks with daggers for eyes. But look at Bill and Taylor. Those are some proud puppy dog eyes right there. Everyone's still betting he won't inherit the throne, but Andreon just keeps walking down those stairs like he owns the entire plot. That face, absolute stone-cold prince energy. The room starts glazing him immediately. Oh, your aura is just like the Emperor's in his prime. But Andreon's internal monologue is just, are you people actually serious? You're acting like this because I lost a few pounds? Clowns. Is this really the nobility of our kingdom? This entire gala is a mid-tier circus act. Every single one of these NPCs is emitting the exact same rotten predatory vibe. Andreon doesn't even flinch, standing amidst them like a Chad, sensing the literal stench of their sins, the filth of people who've spent their whole lives stepping on others to get ahead. He ignores the chatter, locking eyes only with Taylor, and struts over with absolute main character energy. Taylor, you're here. How about a formal greeting, bestie? Taylor plays it cool. My apologies, Your Highness. Thank you for the invite. Andreon scanning Taylor, thinking zero talent maybe, but at least your moral compass isn't completely cooked. Yeah, that'll do, perfect vessel for the chaos I'm about to plant. The vibes get killed instantly by a knight's announcement. All eyes on the entrance as the Bone Empire shows up to flex. Marquis Monperry of Bogoni and Ambassador Kulin are in the building. Bogoni Monperry has entered the chat. Andreon's expression just went from bored to I'm about to commit a hate crime in a 0.5 seconds. Wait, what? It's Kulin, the ambassador of Bogone? Mon walks up with that fake, snake-like smile. Longtimon is shook, eyes wide as saucers. Flashback to his past life. Bone, the arch-nemesis he and his squad spent 400 years trying to put in the ground. That name is literally synonymous with the scars on this land. How dare he show his face in my house? Suddenly, some clumsy noble trips and wipes out, sending wine flying everywhere. Andreon gets absolutely soaked. Talk about a bad day at the office. The noble is panic-sweeting, bowing frantically. Your Highness, I am so sorry. I was just so hyped to greet you that I'm so sorry. Please don't kill me, Your Highness. Andreon stares him down with a look that could end a bloodline. But his eyes aren't on the noble. They're locked on Kulin. The room just went dead silent. Andreon turns on his heel. I need a wardrobe change. The old noble is still groveling. My old body failed me. Please forgive this insolence. C is already there with a towel, ready to escort him. Andreon side-eyes the noble who spilled the drink. Who was that? C glances over and replies, that would be Marka Beefy. Andreon wipes his face, a sinister smirk forming. Beefy, huh? I guess not everyone here is a complete rotten fruit. Honestly, the spill actually helped me cool my head. Night falls, and he's left alone in the shadows, vibing with his own thoughts. The door creaks open. Enter Bu. I heard there was a little incident. His face is painted with pure anxiety, looking like he's about to have a mental breakdown. Marquis B steps in, practically radiating boomer energy, telling the kid he's acting like a ticking time bomb waiting to go off. Not gonna lie, the old man isn't just yapping, he might actually be onto something. B sighs, dropping into the seat next to Andreon, asking, what's the endgame here, kid? Andreon finally spills the tea. I'm not losing my mind, uncle. I'm just tired of this mid-reality. The Bogoni family is flexing their power like they own the place, and these bootlicking nobles are treating them like gods. Even the royals don't get that much glaze. The vibe in this room is more toxic than a Discord mod's basement, and ally is a massive reach. Andreon drops the big question with that MC with a heavy burden expression. How the hell did this kingdom fall so hard? B gets all philosophical, but honestly, it's just the same old boring lore dump we've heard 1,000 times. Back in the day, the kingdom was a total Chad, fighting off the empire like it was nothing, thanks to some absolute unit of a knight. But like every power creep scenario, the empire kept buffing their stats while the kingdom stayed stagnant. Once the empire hit endgame boss status, the kingdom had no choice but to kneel. Talk about a major L. Andreon's eyes go wide as he realizes the plot twist. Don't tell me it was that thing, wasn't it? The story goes on. Despite being a tiny edge-of-the-map territory, the kingdom once held the ultimate nerf for the empire. From the start, they stacked W's with an immaculate record. Some feats were mid, some were cracked, and others were straight-up heroic legends. We're talking epic ballads, myths, and god-tier stuff that sounds like a total fanfic. Andreon stares at the blue aura pulsating in his hand, feeling the main character angst. We really fumbled the bag and lost it all, didn't we? After a long pause, he looks up with that I've chosen violence look. Uncle, I've had a change of heart. B is confused as hell. Change of heart? You mean you're actually going to do something useful? Andreon clutches his chest, channeling his inner king. I'm taking the throne. Time to speedrun this kingdom. B looks like he just saw an NPC attempt a speedrun world record. Total shock. Andrion is already theory crafting his next move. He knows this is a canon event he can't skip even if it hurts later. Time is money, and he's not wasting any. He literally built half this mess himself. Day 2 of the banquet, and Andrion is serving looks in a brand new fit. The announcer hits us with that main character introduction. All hail the great Prince Andrion Leon B, stepping into the arena. Andrion walks in with that absolute zero empathy aura, stone-faced. No one dares to approach him. The social anxiety in the room is off the charts. He looks at these trash-tier nobles and thinks, their etiquette is honestly embarrassing. They don't even know how to treat a real king. Not a single muscle moves on his face, total poker face master. His mind flashes back to the OG timeline. Back then, nobody thought this country boy would ever sit on the throne. He was just a random villager from the boonies, not exactly noble stock, just another NPC in the grand scheme of things. But his footsteps, slow, deliberate, and radiating I'm him. His legend started with that one step, a total zero-to-hero arc for the history books. Andrion snaps back to the present, the energy is shifting, and it's time to mog these clowns. The blue aura explodes around him as he drops the ultimate one-liner. Listen up, you blind NPCs. The energy rips through the room, silencing every single person in the hall, absolute aura diff. Andrion's expression shifted to pure, unadulterated hype. Standing before this flock of sheep, he sang the king's anthem. Too bad his current stats couldn't handle the full legendary version, so he had to settle for a 1/4 strength nerf. The strain on his body was absolute agony, but compared to the true Dragon World Ender anthem, this was light work since it was only hero grade, not mythical. His eyes widened. He knew exactly what he was doing because no other anthem fit this main character energy moment better. A figure emerged from the crowd, and every noble present dropped their jaw in shock. The melody materialized into a literal suit of armor around Andrion, and he looked at the crowd with cold eyes. That's enough. You can look up now. He didn't even get to finish his flex before a sudden surge of pressure from behind caught his attention. Andrion whipped his head around, his pulse racing. This aura, a mysterious high elf stepped forward, smirking. How unexpected, a human who actually remembers the ancient anthems. Andrion's eyes locked onto her, pure terror washing over him. No, she's not just any elf. He froze. Why in the hell is this absolute psychopath here? People think elves are the most beautiful creations of the gods, peaceful forest-dwelling garden keepers who live for 1,000 years and never hurt a fly. That's the NPC version of elves in everyone's brain. But in reality, they're bloodthirsty savages who use their top-tier visuals as bait to lure in their prey for a slow, agonizing death. These high elves are born with hero-tier stats, making them infinitely more dangerous than the trash-tier mobs everyone thinks they are. And this one, she's not just a standard high elf, she's been alive for 1,000 years. Elder 2F of the Elven race, the battlefield dancer Sigrun, a member of the elite squad that soloed a mad dragon 400 years ago, back when she was still a total menace. If your master dies, do you want to come with me instead? She once asked a blade. I'll make sure you never know a moment of boredom. She touched the blade of Gruhon with a sadistic grin, purring, a sword, huh? That just makes me want to break you even more, just like the lunatic who tortured me back then. Just remembering that trauma makes Andrion shiver to his core. Did she recognize him? And did she have to show up right when he was singing that specific anthem? Sigrun glided closer, whispering, "We've met before, haven't we?" Andrion frantically shook his head, but she just hummed. Strange, why does this feel so familiar? Andrion tried to play it cool. This is literally my first time seeing an elf, as the other nobles crowded around, whispering, "Is it really her? It's really her." She rested her chin on her hand, pretending to be deep in thought. Then she dropped a line that turned Andrion's blood to ice. Internally, he's panicking. 400 years ago, she was already a top-tier powerhouse. Who knows what kind of monster she is now? Sigrun continued, breaking down her logic. There are two types of human reactions when they first see an elf. The majority of them are completely bewitched, but those with high-level perception, they get defensive. She reached out, almost brushing against him, leaning in close to deliver the final blow. But looking at you, Your Highness, I don't think you're at that level yet. Andrion shoved her finger away, snapping back. It's just my taste that's a bit different than the norm. That one motion made Sigrun's expression go dark in a split second. She pulled her hood up and turned away. It was a pleasure meeting you, even if it was just for a fleeting moment. Only then did Andrion finally let out a breath he was holding, one crisis averted. Suddenly, the commentary started rolling in as the girls appeared one by one, way too young. And this one? Looks like she's trying her hardest not to make eye contact with me. Another one is being called up? What, is she here to spar or something? And out walks a literal child. I thought we were looking for a bride, not a kindergartner. The rest of these NPCs are just a parade of generic women. Honestly, total mid-energy, zero interest. Queen Margarita looks like she's about to hit 0 HP. She can barely keep her seat. Andrion is standing right there, mirroring her exhaustion as she starts the mom lecture. Listen, kid, this is a prince's audition, not a thirst trap. Stop expecting your usual harem. We need someone with actual stats, high-tier status, and a bloodline that doesn't scream trash. Suddenly, a notification hits the lobby. Your Highness, the Elven delegation is requesting an audience. The queen gives the green light. And look who it is, the absolute mommy herself, Sigrun. She bows with that high-tier elegance. Sigrun of the Mistletoe tribe, offering my deepest respects to the stunning Queen Margarita. The queen hits her back with that practiced diplomatic smile. It's been an eon since the elves graced us with their presence. You've caught me off guard. Sigrun skips the small talk and goes straight for the metagame. Word on the street is the queen is scouting for a wife for the prince? The queen drops the veil. No point lying, you guessed it. And just like that, Sigrun starts flexing her pedigree. In human terms, I'm basically royalty from an ancient house. Andreon is standing there like, wait, is she actually cooking right now? Sigrun pulls the ultimate innocent act. Coincidentally, my age is basically the same as the prince's. Only Andreon knows the truth. Girl, you're literally 1,000 years older than me. Stop the cap. How is she lying with such a straight face? Everyone knows elves are the gold standard for eternal waifufis, and she even brought her own personal guard, basically an S-rank squad of knights. Honestly, from the very first moment I laid eyes on the prince, I felt our destinies were fused together by the gods. Andreon is spiraling. Elves are famous for never lying about destiny. Is she actually serious right now? The queen is literally jaw-dropped. This woman is absolutely built different. The court is going wild, whispering about a potential alliance with the elven race. Talk about a major power move. Oh god, Andreon has finally reached his limit. He's done holding back. He grabs Sigrun's wrist and drags her out of the hall before anyone can protest. We need a private server now. The nobles are seething, muttering about how disrespectful he is. Stay mad, you NPCs. The doors slam shut, cutting off the haters. Andreon doesn't bother with pleasantries and goes straight to the point. Drop the act, what's your real motive? Sigrun just smiles. I'm just here for the diplomatic relations between our houses, duh. Andreon calls her bluff. I'll ask one more time. Elder Sigrun, the executioner who's been carrying the blood debt of your clan for centuries. The legendary blade of the mistletoe tribe. He drops the name like a bomb. Are you here to scout the terrain, or are you here to take my head? Sigrun drops the innocent mask and grins. Interesting, how exactly do you know my stats? Andreon's face tightens, the situation just hit critical levels. Andreon scanned the killer aura radiating off Sigrun, his internal radar going haywire. This woman is an absolute monster and her power level is straight up immeasurable. The fact that she can peep at his destiny means her rank is high enough to see the past lives etched into his soul. Talk about a major skill issue for him. Sigrun didn't even rush, she just started roasting him, her every word dripping with lethal intent. I'm the executioner. Don't you know how brain-dead it is to keep secrets in front of me? Andreon just smirked. Oh, he knows. But acting like a total clown in front of an executioner is exactly the kind of move that gets you cooked. Andreon decided to pivot the convo. Alright, joke's over. Sigrun, stop meddling with my fate. He's running the mental calculations, but for now, the only thing she has for him is pure, unadulterated curiosity. If he lets this play out, this crazy elf is going to shred his fate to pieces. Better to keep her hooked, turn himself into a gourmet meal that needs aging rather than a snack she'll finish and toss in the trash. Sigrun stepped closer, her face lit up with a thirst for discovery. Are you really? He kept his poker face on lock. I'm just a pathetic prince discarded by his own father. Sigrun looked confused, asking for the real him, but he hit her with the ultimate non-answer. Who knows? Andreon's lips curled into a mischievous grin. If you really want to know, just stay tuned. That absolute Chad energy actually left Sigrun speechless. Then she dropped the bombshell. No wonder I felt something was off. I was wondering why I got assigned such a bottom-tier mission for no reason. But now I get it. It was all because of you. Andreon felt his soul leave his body. This woman is genuinely terrifying. They headed back to the room where the royals and nobles were waiting. The sight of them holding hands had the whole room shaking. The NPCs were absolutely gobsmacked. Andreon stopped right in front of the queen, his expression dead serious. I have an announcement. I'm getting engaged to Sigrun. Even Andreon was low-key shocked those words actually came out of his own mouth. He never thought he'd say that name with such fake affection, but he couldn't risk bruising Sigrun's ego yet. The queen asked, an engagement with an elf? While Andreon was just doing the math, buying time. This is a massive decision, we can't rush this, so I want time to get to know her better. The queen tilted her head, calculating the benefits. Very well, that works. Andreon thought, for the queen, this is just a political play for power. For Sigrun, this is time for this dish to marinate to perfection. And for me, this is just the grind time I need to gain enough strength to dump this psycho elf. Bang, a fist smashed the table, sending the tea flying everywhere. Damn it, the room echoed with his rage. That piece of trash. Just because he was born first, he thinks he's better than me? Julian's face was turning purple from pure salt. Every time he remembered Andreon's recent wins, his blood pressure hit the ceiling. Not only did the Duke randomly back him, but he also pulled the campus goddess of the Lion City, and now he's messing with an elf? He thought women were just eye candy, but this elf-tier aura is something that totally defies his logic. Julian sneered with a pathetic, arrogant laugh. Fine, we've got a sparring match coming up. Killing him would cause too much drama, so I'll just make sure he can't be a man anymore. I'm gonna grind you into the dirt, you loser. A knight stepped forward, his voice booming across the arena. This sparring match is officiated by me, the captain of the Royal Knights, the Silver Line of Glory Stuttgart. No one is allowed to contest the results. You two, draw your swords. Andreon just let out a massive lazy yawn. It's just a sword fight, why is this guy yapping so much? Julian struts onto the arena with major main character syndrome, unsheathing his sword with enough ego to fill an S-rank dungeon. I've been prepping for this show just for you, brother. Hope you like the crowd I brought. Are you satisfied yet? He's yapping with so much arrogance, honestly hoping he doesn't embarrass himself in front of the audience. Andre doesn't even blink, dryly dropping the hammer. I've seen enough. You talk too much. Julian's aura turns toxic, veins popping as he screams, enjoy your little monologue while you can. After I'm done with you, let's see if you can still run your mouth. Andre watches this fraud charge at him like an NPC with a death wish, coldly thinking, I was actually planning to play with you for a bit, but then he decides to end this clown show in one singular motion. But honestly, I'm way too busy for this trash. Julian is face down in the dirt before his brain even registers the attack. Absolute one-shot. The crowd is in total shock. Their jaws are literally hitting the floor. Even the referee is glitching out, eyes wide as saucers. Is that really the same Grand Prince we all thought was a total loser? Andre's expression remains ice-cold, change in his aura as he sheaths his blade with pure Chad energy. Sir Hugh finally breaks the silence, acting like the professional he is. As the official overseer, I'm calling it. The third prince is disqualified. He can't continue. The winner is the Grand Prince. Andre glances back with a look of pure disappointment, his face tense as he mutters a savage critique. Are we seriously calling these nobles? A whole crowd gathered just to watch kids play fight? The nobles are buzzing like flies. Did Prince Julian actually lose? He was the kingdom's top talent. How did he get mogged by the Grand Prince? Didn't Andre only start training a few months ago? Julian wakes up with a forehead covered in band-aids, looking like a total L. He springs up, immediately foaming at the mouth, screaming about that damn piece of trash. He storms toward the door, already plotting his revenge. Get ready, I'm going back to wipe the floor with him. A knight stops him cold. Your Highness. The knight speaks with zero urgency, completely unbothered by the prince's tantrum. The Grand Prince left the capital with Count Bandelier H immediately after the match. Julian loses it. Left? Where the hell did he go? The knight replies, looking confused. Supposedly, he's heading north to Bandelier H family territory. Meanwhile, Beau is riding alongside Andre, giving him a pass. You've actually gotten pretty decent at riding, I'll give you that. Andre smiles, unfazed. Once you understand the mechanics, it's easy. Right? B winces at the sheer flex. Too much confidence, kid. You need to learn some humility? But why the rush to leave? The banquet is over, why not chill for a few days? Andre drops the cold, hard truth. The capital has no space for me. I'm not gonna beg for support from people who don't even recognize their own sovereign, opting instead to lick the boots of the Empire's guard dogs. Compared to those snakes, the soldiers and knights are way more my vibe, don't you think? Bo sighs. They aren't as smart as nobles, but they're loyal. You think getting their respect is that easy? Andre just smirks with absolute riz. If we bleed and survive together, the loyalty will grow naturally. Why worry so much? Bo is still skeptical, thinking this is way too reckless. But in his head, Andre is thinking, if I stay here and stall, I'm gonna end up married to that psycho woman. In the past, everyone that crazy girl set her eyes on ended up with a tragic death. Before that happens, I need to skyrocket my power level. That's impossible in this sleepy capital, so I gotta bounce. The only place to truly sharpen my blade and my skills is elsewhere. A place where human resolve is tested to the breaking point. Where the greatest war anthems are written in blood. My next destination, the battlefield. Bew drops the info bomb. We've arrived at the Blade Mountain Range, the frozen frontier our family has been holding down since the dawn of time. Andreon shivering like a leaf in a hurricane, bro's legit about to become an ice cube. The old man tells him, if you're soft, just crawl back into the carriage. Andreon hits him with the nah, I'm good, knowing he needs to build that resistance or he's literally cooked. Suddenly, some NPC old man pops out of the carriage. Great, we're doing a road trip with a stowaway. Andreon side-eyeing him like, why are you even here? This isn't a sightseeing tour, Gramps. Niccolo starts yapping about how this is a once-in-a-lifetime chance to study the North. He claims his book will help the prince. Andreon is 100% done with his existence. His eyes drift to someone much more aesthetic. Andreon trots over to Alwyn, his tone dropping from annoyed prince to concerned simp. Alwyn, you good? That frontline seat looks like a death trap. She's too busy being a loyal soldier to care about frostbite. I'm fine, my prince. Andreon stares at her shaking shoulders, offering a rotation, but she refuses. Absolute peak knight mindset. Andreon is low-key impressed. Having a ride-or-die loyalist like her is a W in any book. Alwyn turns beet red, probably from the cold or the proximity, and marches on. Andreon finally glances back at the Royal Knights, and man, the vibes are rancid. They look like they'd rather be literally anywhere else. If he had his way, he'd be teaching those losers a lesson in discipline right now. The king basically threw a tantrum, forcing the Royal Knights onto him instead of his own elite guard. Don't you have your own knights? The king had asked, basically calling Andreon a fraud. The audacity of this boomer is why his own squad couldn't come. I mean, even if his past self was a total menace, he's still blood, right? The king's treatment is actually brain dead. Something smells fishy. There's definitely some 4D chess plot armor mystery going on here. Bew screams over the howling wind. Move. If we don't pick up the pace, the blizzard is going to body us. There's no turning back. It's push forward or get deleted by the weather. The snow goes full apocalypse mode. You can't even hear the person standing next to you. It's an absolute wipe. Bew is sweating bullets looking back. He gives the order, ditch the carriages, save the horses and get on foot now. Andreon thinks to himself, he's literally using mana to scream? That's a high tier flex. He signals to the ladies inside. Adelia, hop out. Adelia grabs his hand with pure devotion. My prince, thank you. Andreon keeps it cool, I got you. Alwyn rushes over, looking ready to jump in front of a bus for him. Prince, are you hurt? Andreon keeps his aura calm. I'm chilling. The rest of the troops are NPCs panicking. Watch out. It's typical chaos. Andreon steps into protagonist mode. Roger that, my prince. He marches up to the idiots holding shields. Drop the shields. You're basically holding sails for the wind to carry you off. Just take your swords and ditch the dead weight. We can come back for the gear later. He gets them into a line. The other knights are watching, mouth agape. Wait, does the prince actually have combat experience? Maybe we don't need to babysit him after all. Every step in this blizzard feels like you're carrying a literal mountain. The squad is pushing forward, fueled by pure grit, until one of them finally goes down. A notification pings in Andrian's ear. Your Highness, a soldier just fell behind. He moves faster than a server lag spike, dodging aside to grab the unconscious soldier by the collar. Andrian hauls the guy onto his shoulder and barks, "The hell are you doing?" "Move your legs, NPC." The soldiers scramble, "Yes, Your Highness," and the group trudges toward the castle. Andre gasps for air. That march was absolute hell, and everyone's stamina bar is hitting zero. Andrian drops the guy, eyes the horizon, and grumbles, "This cursed blizzard. If you're gonna stop, stop already." The sky clears up instantly, like the devs just patched the weather. Bu steps forward. He stops, slowly turns his head, and a flag is raised. Beo, being the absolute Chad of the Bandler H House and commander of the 3rd Legion, speaks, "I welcome the Grand Prince to our humble abode." Andrian is hyped, looks like the plot is finally moving. Bu smiles, "Welcome to Winter City." This is the North Pole of the kingdom, a fortress built to hold back monsters from the Sword Mountains. Basically the ultimate defense wall. The local knights are all salty, man. This place is a death trap. Freezing, deadly, and 0 survival rate. Worst job ever. I'm never coming back. Even the noble girls are gossiping. Winter City is just a giant shackled weapon for the Bandler H family. What's even there to see in such a frozen wasteland? The nobles love to judge, but then the massive gates swing open and a guy with slick black hair steps out. For those born and raised in Bandler H, this place is their literal canon event, a duty and a badge of honor for life. The young man puts a hand to his chest and declares, "Vincent Bandler H, I'm stepping down as commander to return to my post as captain of the Rangers." "Glad you made it back safe, son," Beo says, gripping his shoulder. "You've worked hard, Vincent." A snarky voice pipes up from behind, "Yo, uncle, you actually have a kid?" Beo looks at him, deadpan. "Excuse me, do you think I'm too old to reproduce?" Andrian points at Vincent. "Look at that pouty mouth, definitely got your genes." "Vincent, meet the Grand Prince Andrian." Vincent bows perfectly. "Captain Vincent of the Rangers, House Bandler H, reporting for duty, Your Highness." Andrian loves the professionalism. "Nice to meet you." But in his head, Vincent is malding. Winter City is for real warriors who don't mind dying for their convictions. It's definitely not for some trash-tier royal kicked out of the capital, dragging his harem around to mog the place. A knight offers, "I'll show you around, Your Highness." Andrian accepts, bet. Meanwhile, Vincent is veins popping mad. Why did father invite this absolute fraud here? "Father, what is actually going on?" Beo speaks calmly, "Exactly what you heard. I'm Andrian's sponsor and he's staying at Bandler H." Vincent is tilted. "That guy is a dumpster fire prince the Emperor discarded. Didn't you call him a useless fraud with a trash personality before?" Bu glances to the side at that comment. He drops a simple line, "People can change, son," and adds one final warning, "But there's one thing I need to tell you. Vincent, just keep an eye on him and drop the prejudice, all right?" They move to a briefing room in record time. "So how's the orc cleaning simulator going in the village?" Vincent stepped up to report. "We've been grinding, but there's still too much trash left to clear. Now that father is here, I'm ready to launch the official operation." Bell didn't care about the small talk, straight to the point. "And what about the remaining manpower?" Vincent quickly replied, tapping a finger on the map like a true Chad commander. "The problem is a pack of orcs, at least 20 of them, camped right at the mountain pass." Bell jumped in. "The ranger squad's basic arrows aren't going to cut it. It's an L move if we try." Vincent nodded, confirming the struggle. "Exactly. That's why I'm currently vetting the knights stationed in the city." Suddenly, Andrian just waltzed into the conversation and dropped a bomb. "Leave this to me." The absolute audacity caused an immediate uproar in the room. "Your Highness, the orcs at the Sword Mountain Pass are built different. If things go sideways, the ranger operation is absolutely cooked." Andrian just glanced back, waiting for Bell's input. The old man got the vibe and turned to Vincent. "Vincent, what's the confirmed count and combat power of those orcs?" Vincent gave a detailed breakdown, currently confirmed at 20 tops. "No word on orc warriors or shamans yet, but we can't rule out a high-tier threat." Then Bell hit Andrian with the ultimate litmus test. "Are you confident?" That question made Vincent jump out of his seat. "Father, that pass is a main route for the Rangers. Are you insane? If that place turns into a war zone, our logistics are dead. Plus, if anything happens to the prince, the House of Bandler is finished." Andrian just smirked. "You raised a sharp kid, didn't you?" But Bell had already made up his mind. "That's enough worrying. Yan, what do you need?" Andrian started laying out his battle plan. "Get me 3 scouts, upgrade my troops' gear, and hand over every crossbow you've got." Bell nodded. "The request is mid. Consider it done." Only Vincent stood there, completely stunned, watching the train wreck unfold. The soldiers got the notification to move out. One of them looked at Andrian, confused. "Wait, what? Are you serious?" Andrian kept his aura cold and collected. "We've been assigned to purge the orcs, 20 enemies. Potential warriors and shamans. Move." The knight scratched his head, looking like a total NPC. "Your Highness, we have the 3rd Legion for that? Our job is literally just to guard you, bruh." Andrian clapped back with peak logic. "Even better. You have to follow me to protect me anyway, right? The 3rd Legion will link up later today. Go grab your gear and report back to me." They had no choice but to fold. "Yes, Your Highness." Andrian watched them go, thinking, "They're the soldiers I've been gifted. Time to train these frauds into actual assets." They looked like total trash in the blizzard, but these were elites handpicked by the royal family, actually high-tier fodder. System check, Han's sword mastery, tactics, fort defense, infantry formation. Although, there was one dude in the back who looked mad suspicious. Morning hit, and it was time for the main event, the purge. Andrian stared at Vincent and let out a dry laugh. "That's your expert guide?" The disrespect hit Vincent hard. Your Highness might not realize, but if this mission fails, it's a massive canon event of disaster. Andrian didn't even blink it won't. Vincent was fuming. You're oversimplifying everything. The tension between them was creating enough static to power a city. Andrian's gaze shifted to the interface, analyzing the guy in front of him. System error. Status window hidden. Interesting. At least a third step knight then? In that whole lineup, only one was a real ranger. The rest were just knights larping as scouts. Absolute clowns. Figures. They probably think they can outperform me if things go south. Cute attempt at being the main character. I'll let it slide this time. Even a god has to let the NPCs play pretend. Andrian does a quick 180 and drops the signal. Adelia, stay back. I'm not bringing you along, so quit stressing. Poor girl looks like a kicked puppy, but honestly, it's pure self-preservation. If my development stat gets cooked because of a distraction, that's a massive L for me. The squad starts moving, with Vinan nagging like a broken record. Watch your step and conserve that stamina, boys. If you burn out, you're basically frozen popsicles, and fighting will be a nightmare. Especially in these icy blade mountains, one slip up and you're finished. Andrian's face is darker than a burnt pot. This guy talks more than my own pops. A rabbit suddenly bounces out of the bushes, breaking the tension. Andrian watches his squad get all twitchy and paranoid. Oh really? They whip out the binoculars, scanning the tree line like pro gamers scouting a high-level raid. Bingo, a pack of savage orcs is mid-feast, and Vincent's scout looks like he's seen a ghost. He turns back, sweating the bullets. My lord, it's a whole orc platoon ahead. What's the play, boss? Andrian just flicks a hand, cold and calculated. The knights lock and load, weapons raised, ready to turn this forest into a kill zone. An orc perks up, sensing the aura of impending death. Andrian steps forward, absolute Chad energy radiating off him. That villainous smirk says it all. Yo, long time no see, miss me? The signal drops and the chaos begins. A volley of arrows whistles through the air, turning those orcs into pincushions. Andrian enters his zone. The ground trembles under his feet, eyes sharp enough to cut glass as he draws his blade. He charges, closing the gap like an SSS tier speedster. A guttural, bloodthirsty roar shakes the atmosphere. Andrian's smile widens. He's not in danger. He's in his element. The first strike lands clean and brutal. The air fills with the smell of iron and messy, visceral carnage. He pushes forward, leaving a trail of absolute destruction in his wake. His expression is pure, unfiltered hype. This is it, the feeling I've been craving for lifetimes. Hell yeah. Nothing beats the chaotic vibe of a real battlefield. Suddenly, Awen rushes over, panicking like an NPC in a cutscene. Your Highness, get back, it's too dangerous. Andrian shuts her down with a sharp bark. Stay the hell back. Awen freezes, totally caught off guard by the sheer intensity of his command. Andrian is locked in, he's not even looking at her anymore. He's grinning. Lost in a memory from 400 years ago. The days when the world was a different kind of hell. Back when orcs weren't just generic mobs, but actual rulers of this continent. This isn't some hero's myth. It's the story of a man whose name was erased by the pages of history. It's the requiem of a broken father who fought until his final breath, fueled by a pure, unadulterated hatred for the orcs. Piling up those green corpses like a damn mountain, the symphony of a madman seeking revenge begins. Beneath it all, a pool of blood starts forming, time to sing the ballad of the absolute menace. A heavy purse of gold gets tossed down with zero respect, just pure disrespect. Joseph panics, stuttering, I heard Winter City is a death trap where people drop like flies, but the old man just smirks, relax. Kid, you won't even have to lift a finger. The Count starts yapping, mocking that Trash Prince and questioning what a fraud like him could possibly do, clearly just there to steal credit from his uncle. His tone turns smug as he says, the real prize isn't that loser, it's Banlo. Keep your eyes on Winter City and report back the moment something smells fishy. Back in the present, Joseph clutches the money bag, his palms sweating as the Count grills him. You think you can handle this? He caves instantly. I'll give it my all, my lord. Suddenly snapping back to reality, Joseph is shaking in his boots. This isn't what he signed up for. This is a total lie. Standing right in front of him is a bloodthirsty orc. This is definitely not what he was promised. Awen screams at the top of her lungs, frontline, hold the formation and advance. No sooner than the words leave her lips, the orc launches a savage assault on their squad. In the heat of the moment, Joseph freezes like a total NPC. I'm cooked. What the hell am I supposed to do now? The orders keep ringing out, forcing him to thrust his spear as the second line lunges forward. A split second after the jab, Joseph slowly peeks through his trembling fingers. The orc is staring right back at him, completely unfazed. That attack did absolutely nothing, zero damage. Joseph is so paralyzed by fear he drops his weapon. He's finished, but in that split second, a blur shoots past him. Capitalizing on the monster's distraction, Awen makes her move. And with once past the orc, she lops its arm clean off. The beast hits the deck, meeting its end under her blade. The severed limb lands right in front of Joseph, and the poor guy scrambles back like a coward. Owen doesn't even blink, sternly barking. This is a battlefield. You drop your weapon again, you're dead weight. Joseph just nods frantically, looking like a deer in headlights. Yes, ma'am. Before he can even breathe, a whole pack of orcs starts swarming them. Awen levels her blade at the horde, commanding all units, get ready to cook these monsters. Even as she gives the order, she looks worried. There's way too many of them, we're severely outnumbered, this might be a wipe. Her eyes widen as the stench of fresh blood fills the air, and suddenly the orc in front of her is skewered from behind. The orcs scream, Joseph turns ghost white, and the rest of the soldiers are left completely shook. Awen stands there, stunned, staring at the fountain of crimson spraying everywhere. Meanwhile, Andrian is just chilling, casually pulling his sword out of his latest kill. The massive orc body hits the floor and the tension in the air is thick enough to cut with a knife. At that exact moment, the bloodlust inside Andreon hits a new peak, sensing something strange. Owen tried to probe the prince, but the guy just stared blankly, giving absolutely zero riz back. Suddenly, Andreon just yeeted himself forward, ignoring everyone trying to stop him, his footsteps screaming pure, unadulterated desperation. Deep down, Andreon's brain was looping through past battles like a trauma-induced highlight reel. Back then, his master used him to down an orc, and even after stacking bodies, the man was like, "Is that it? We need more kills," acting like a total XP farming addict. Throughout the carnage, the master's face was stone cold, just vibing and hunting for more blood like an NPC on autopilot. Andreon vividly remembers the aura that radiated off him as he wandered through the scorched, orc-infested wasteland. An orc swung its axe like a total scrub, but the master hit the jump button and ascended. With that free opening, he turned that orc into a crispy fried snack. Talk about an easy dub. After the kill, he just kept walking like it was a casual stroll through the park. By now, the snow was painted crimson, and his mana reserves were drier than a YouTuber's comedy skit. His body was swaying, burning with a hellish red glow, but he wasn't even thinking about stopping. Little by little, he stared ahead, chugging orc blood and chewing on raw meat like some unhinged berserker. And in a blink, his hair bleached white. Talk about a main character glow-up gone wrong. With every step, the man just kept getting weaker, his health bar hitting critical levels. That magic sword was the only thing keeping him upright, literally draining his remaining life force to fulfill a final, desperate cope. The victims he'd avenged, now just piles of meat, were the only ones left to witness this final stand. His face darkened into a shadow of pure unfiltered terror. It was a masterpiece of blood, a funeral sacrifice for his wife and daughter etched in the mud of war. Back to the present, his eyes locked onto that red banner, his target finally in sight. Standing face to face with his literal canon event, the boss that ruined his life, he looked absolutely cooked, his body broken, bleeding, and held together by pure spite. He let out a weak, pathetic smirk, then lunged like a rabid beast closing the distance. He rushed the Orc King, aiming to get into that sweet melee range. For the first time, he went for the head, trying to secure the final hit. But the Orc King just mogged him, grabbing him like he was a mere side character. It squeezed the life out of him and slammed him into the deck. His body hit the snow with a thud that echoed his impending L. That critical hit left him stunned. It was looking like a total skill issue from here. A moment later, the Orc King slowly raised its fist to finish the job, leaving the warrior motionless in the snow, yet the man refused to quit until the very last frame. He gasped for air, his lungs fighting for every single millisecond of life. His vision blurred, holding on to a secret he's never shared with a single soul. In the end, he never got to say the words, a tragic canon event buried in history. Gruhon rests silently in his grip. I guess I'm the only one left who remembers the truth. Andreon snaps back to reality as his memory glitch hits him like a truck. All he sees now is a graveyard of massive Oros corpses littered everywhere. Suddenly, he picks up a familiar vibe, someone still causing trouble nearby. He glances over and, oh look, the NPC knights are still struggling to contain the orc horde. Andreon's palm tightens, and a lethal spark of aura ignites in his eyes. It all clicked. I remember everything now. That fresh hit of adrenaline hits different, and his vengeance aria starts looping in his head, unfinished business. Andreon locks in, deciding he's going to finish this chaotic masterpiece himself. With that MC energy, he starts speed-running these orcs into the afterlife. He nukes 3 of them in a row, then launches himself at the next one like a literal homing missile. He delivers a clean, savage stab right into the monster's gut. Blood splatters everywhere, but Andreon stays cold as ice. Another verse added to his kill count anthem. The lyrics echo in his mind. Stack their rotten corpses into a mountain. Let the blood pool underneath like a crimson sea. As the melody reaches its climax, Andreon whispers, and I stand before the ruins of it all. He looms over the final orc, his vengeance aria hitting peak levels. I stand here, honoring the souls you took. System Notificatia has evolved into Requiem of the Fallen. His sanity levels stabilize, and he starts scanning the map like a true pro. Easy dub, he spots Bill and Vincent chilling in the back. They grab the Oros banner and snap it in half like it's nothing. Absolute disrespect, love to see it. Vincent doesn't hesitate, declaring the Oros total wipeout. He thinks to himself, yeah, we really just speed ran this victory. He finishes the job screaming, this is our victory, boys. Meanwhile, Andreon's curiosity is peaking. What was that guy's name again? He stares at him, racking his brain. Banner H, was it? The heir to a family who treats monster slaying like a lifestyle, the guy who died trying to wipe out the orcs. Wait, he shares a name with that pathetic Avenger? Seuss. He recalls the words whispered back then, even if I'm reborn in another life. His voice hardening with conviction, Andreon realizes, I'll do it all again. The coincidence is actually mind-blowing.